ठीक है, मैं एक बार फिर से, जो माहौल है ये आपने देखा, जो यहाँ पर भोले के भक्त हैं, लेकिन ये ज्ञानवापी परिसर जिसको लेकर के पूरा विवाद है, अभी भी यहाँ पर 5 वक्त की नमाज होती है। हालांकि हिंदू पक्ष की तरफ से ये भी कहा गया था कि नमाज पर रोक लगाई जाए, लेकिन जो इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने कहा है कि ASI का सर्वे जब होगा उसके बाद, कितना कोई समय सीमा नहीं है कि कब तक ये सर्वे होगा, लेकिन जो 21 जुलाई का जिला जज का फैसला था वो मान्य होगा। इस बीच केशव प्रसाद मौर्य ने क्या कहा है हाईकोर्ट के फैसले के बाद, ये हम आपको सुनाते हैं।
We have with us former Deputy CM joining us on the broadcast, दिनेश शर्मा जी। आप अभी हमारे पास ये वर्डिक्ट आया है जहां पे हिंदू साइड को इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने गो अहेड दे दिया है कि ASI का सर्वे ज्ञानवापी के साइट में हो सकता है। आप इस पे कैसे रिएक्ट करेंगे?
निश्चित रूप में ये निचली अदालत का ही एक पुनरावृत्ति है और माननीय न्यायालय तथ्य के आधार पर अपने निर्णय भी देता है, तथ्य के आधार पर सुनवाई भी करता है। तो सर्वे कराने में मैं समझता हूँ किसी पक्ष को कोई इतराज इसलिए नहीं होना चाहिए कि किसी चीज की खुदाई नहीं है, किसी चीज से छेड़छाड़ नहीं होगी, केवल तथ्यात्मक साक्ष्य का संकलन ये सर्वे का आधार होगा। तो इसलिए मैं कह सकता हूँ कि न्यायालय का जो आदेश है वो सर्वोपरि है, उसे सभी पक्ष को मानना चाहिए।
जी, और अभी मुसलमान पक्ष ने बार बार ये कहा है कि जो सर्वे है वो काफी टाइम से पहले हो रहा है एंड जो एविडेंसेस है वो अभी पर्याप्त नहीं है। इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
नहीं, देखिए जो भी तथ्य रहा होगा उन्होंने कोर्ट के सामने प्रस्तुत रखा होगा और कोर्ट ने उनके प्रेयर का जो तथ्यात्मक परीक्षण है करने के बाद ही निर्णय दिया होगा। सर्वे में किसी प्रकार की अन्य चीजों की जरूरत नहीं होती, जो वर्तमान में उपलब्ध साक्ष्य होते हैं उन्हीं का परीक्षण होता है। तो मैं समझता हूँ ये सामान्य प्रक्रिया है और इस प्रक्रिया में किसी पक्ष को आहत होने की जरूरत नहीं है।
जी दिनेश जी, अयोध्या के बाद अब वाराणसी, क्या अगला हम मथुरा एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं?
नहीं, देखिए ये इसमें किसी प्रकार का बीजेपी से कोई लेना देना नहीं है। ये जनहित याचिका कुछ लोगों ने इसको दायर की है और न्यायालय ने उस पर निर्णय दिया है। इससे भारतीय जनता पार्टी का लेना देना कहाँ से है? निश्चित रूप में जो भी संगठन है वो अपने लोकतांत्रिक देश की यही एक विशेषता है कि वो अपने अधिकारों के रक्षा के लिए माननीय न्यायालय तक जा सकते हैं। और कई निर्णय ऐसे हुए हैं जो मुस्लिम पक्ष के भी समर्थन में पक्ष में हुए हैं। तो इसको किसी पक्ष और विपक्ष के रूप में नहीं लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि भारत का जो न्यायिक प्रक्रिया है वो निष्पक्ष है और उसके ऊपर अभी तक कहीं भी उंगली नहीं उठी है। इसलिए सभी को स्वीकार करना चाहिए।
जी दिनेश जी, हमारे साथ बातचीत करने के लिए शुक्रिया। Now we go back to our legal reporter Ananya Bhatnagar. Ananya, the SC is going to hear the case tomorrow as per schedule. What are we expecting from that?
Well, right before that, I have a small breaking news coming for our viewers. The legal team of the Anjuman Muntazamiya Masjid Committee has confirmed to CNN News18 that they will first be looking at, in fact, the judgment of the Allahabad High Court, the detailed order copy of the Allahabad High Court, and would then only be deciding their next move, whether or not to approach the Supreme Court, whether urgent mentioning has to be made before the Supreme Court or not. All of that would only be decided after, in fact, the full judgment copy of the Allahabad High Court comes in, and only after that the next move of the Masjid Committee or the Muslim side would be coming in. As you were asking the question that, what would be the future course of action, now the next option available to them is the Supreme Court of India. The court, and with regards to the timeline, something is very, very important. The August 4 is the date when the last date which was there in the Varanasi court order. It was a report had to be submitted to the Varanasi court. So whether the Archaeological Survey of India would be moving back to the Varanasi district court to actually seek for more time to conduct the survey, citing that the order was already stayed and it's already August 3 today. So it might not be possible for the Archaeological Survey of India to carry out a particular survey in a day itself. So they might seek for some more time to conduct this particular survey, and that could also happen. But with regards to the Muslim side, the lawyers have confirmed to CNN News 18 very, very clearly that they will first be seeing the orders of the Allahabad High Court, the detailed order copy, and then only be deciding their next move, whether to approach the Supreme Court, whether to not approach the Supreme Court. All of this only after, in fact, the full judgment copy of the Allahabad High Court actually comes out.
Right, Ananya, do continue staying with us. Right now, we'll bring you a reaction from BJP's Lakshmikant Vajpayee. Let's have a look at what she had to say.
स्वागत योग्य है और सही बात है कि ऐतिहासिक तथ्यों को झुठलाकर जो भ्रम पैदा किया गया था, उस भ्रम का अगर निपटारा हो रहा है तो मैं हाई कोर्ट के निर्णय का स्वागत करता हूं और मैं मुस्लिम समाज से भी अपील करता हूं कि अब सच को सामने आने दें और सच को स्वीकार करने का साहस दिखाएं। इसको राजनीति से या वैमनस्यता के आधार पर निर्णय न करें, क्योंकि राम जन्मभूमि को सैकड़ों साल तक वैमनस्यता के आधार पर रखा और अंत भला सो भला, जो सच था वो सामने आया और सच को सबने स्वीकार किया।
इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ज्ञानवापी प्रकरण में आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे की कार्रवाई को अलाउ कर दिया है। जो मुस्लिम पक्ष जाके हाई कोर्ट में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चुनौती थी और उसके आलोक में हाई कोर्ट उन्हें कहा गया था कि आप आइए, और वहाँ पे पूरा विचारण हुआ और आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे ने अपना हलफनामा देके अपने सारे तथ्यों को रखा कि किसी प्रकार से ढांचे को नुकसान नहीं होगा। और साथ में यह भी हिदायत है उसमें कि जो वजूखाना है जिसमें शिवलिंग प्रकट हुए हैं, उसको किसी प्रकार से नुकसान या छेड़छाड़ नहीं की जाएगी, उसमें कोई हस्तक्षेप नहीं होगा। और ये पूरी तरह से पूरे परिसर का जो बैरिकेटेड एरिया है, रकबा नंबर 9130, जिसमें कथित ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद अवस्थित है, उसके सर्वे कराने की बात आ गई है। तो माननीय न्यायालय का ये आदेश आज काशी में आया। अभी अभी हमारे मित्रों को सबको अवगत हुआ और सभी हर हर बम बम बोल रहे हैं, अत्यंत प्रसन्न हैं कि आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे हो जाएगा, जिससे दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। हमेशा के लिए एक जो तनावपूर्ण स्थिति बनी हुई है उसका समाधान हो जाए। और दूसरा विषय ये है कि कोई भी न्यायालय किसी विषय पर निर्णय देने से पहले वो युक्त निर्णय दे जिसमें वैज्ञानिक तथ्यों का समावेश होना चाहिए। इस आधार पे ये बड़ा ही समीचीन होगा कि आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे हो जाए, हमेशा के लिए इस विवाद का पटाक्षेप हो और वहाँ पे एक वैज्ञानिक आधार प्राप्त हो, जिसमें मुख्यतः फोकस्ड किया गया कि जो सेंट्रल डोम है, बनारस के जिला जज का निर्णय था कि सेंट्रल डोम जो पिछली दीवार है जिसपे नागर शैली के भग्नावशेष का वहाँ पे पड़ा हुआ है और उसमें स्वास्थ्य।
We have Manju Vyas, who's a petitioner again, joining us live on the broadcast. Manju Vyas जी, आप हमें ये बताइए, पहले तो आपकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया है इस वर्डिक्ट पे?
पहले तो हर हर महादेव बोलेंगे, क्योंकि जो भी फैसला आया हम लोग के पक्ष में आया, क्योंकि हिंदू के सबूत जो सच थे वो सामने उभर के आ गए। क्योंकि जो हमारे निशान ज्ञानवापी के मंदिर के अंदर जो हमारे निशान थे, जैसे त्रिशूल, ओम, स्वास्तिक और जो हमारे पिलरों पे घंटी और कमल के फूल, ये सब थे, उसके सबूत पे जो आज फैसला आया उसमें हम लोग बहुत ज्यादा खुश हैं
जी। और अब आपको क्या लगता है कि हम इस सर्वेक्षण की उम्मीद कब कर सकते हैं? अभी जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट, अभी जो इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने गो अहेड दे दिया है कि हाँ आप ये कर सकते हैं सर्वे, क्या टाइमलाइन एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं हम?
देखिए, अब तो टाइम तो निर्धारित वो करेंगे, जैसे भी करेंगे हम लोग बिल्कुल रेडी हैं। हम लोग बिल्कुल अच्छा तैयार बैठे हुए हैं कि सर्वे की जैसे ही डेट आएगी हम लोग सर्वे कराने में बिल्कुल उनका साथ देंगे और जो हमारे सबूत हैं वो खुल करके अब सामने आ जाएंगे। जैसे ये लोग महाजिद लगा के बैठे हैं,
आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए। हमारे साथ अभी जुड़ रहे हैं हरिशंकर जैन फ्रॉम द हिंदू साइड। ही इज एन एडवोकेट। मिस्टर हरिशंकर जैन, very good morning to you. Well, this is the particular verdict that we have received. What is your first reaction for the verdict?
This is a verdict will create it is a milestone for the entire case, and I welcome this verdict because it concerns with law. It is concerning with dharma, and actually dharma is the victorious today. What we are saying and what was our argument, court has accepted. Court has accepted because of the fact the ASI survey required to bring on record the real evidence which is visiting the building, which can't be brought without there being a survey. And after survey, it will be proved how much the building is, what is the time of the plinth, how much the western side of the wall is there. What is the engraved in the western side of the wall? And not only this, Damru, Shank, and several artifacts, a number of artifacts of Hindus that is found there, that will be examined, and their age will be examined. The survey will be there, and I'm sure that another Shivling, there is original Shivling of Lord Shiva, that will come on forth, and public will see how they have suppressed all the relevant, all the material facts. That is why Muslims are fearful that they will lose the case, they will lose this so-called mosque, and this mosque will no longer, and there will be a grand Hindu temple, because the truth will come out.
Right, Mr. Jain.
Yes.
Mr. Jain, this is the second time that we have Ananya Bhatnagar joining us live on the broadcast. Ananya, Mr. Hari Shankar Jain has joined us on the broadcast as well. Please take it forward from here.
Hari Shankar ji, namaskar. My first question to you is that the ASI survey has now been allowed. It has been said that scientific survey is something that is in need of the hour. But the timeline that was set by the Varanasi court was of August 4th. So will the Archaeological Survey of India will have to move back to the Varanasi court to seek an extension of this timeline, because the order was already stayed? And if at all the matter reaches the Supreme Court, what would be the legal strategy from your end? Because you and Vishnu Shankar Jain are representing the Hindu petitioners from the very beginning of this case.
I expect that the Muslim side may file petition even today online, and we are ready to oppose it. And there will be another legal fight in Supreme Court. And survey will take place, no doubt. Survey has to take place, and nobody will stop the survey. But after all, this, if they come to the Supreme Court, that we will fight for that. Today we are preparing for that.
Mr. Jain, the Muslim side had constantly been citing Section 75 of the CPC, constantly saying, even before the Allahabad High Court as well, that, this is not the correct stage. The application of the Hindu side is very premature in nature. And now the court has allowed the Allahabad High Court has allowed this. So how do you comment on this, and what is the reaction?
On merit, there is no case. Law does not provide any stage. It says the investigation, scientific investigation, can be conducted under the orders of the court. Number one. Number two, their argument was that ASI is not a party. That is not necessary. Order 23 Rule 10A, where it provides that the court will appoint someone to conduct the survey. So therefore, it is not a party. Third thing is that nobody is going to be prejudiced. After all, why Muslims do not want? No, they are not going to be prejudiced. And everything will come out. They know that they are hiding the things that will come on the court. The number of artifacts. I will not repeat. Yes.
My next question would have been the same, that the Muslim side not only as soon as the Varanasi court had ordered, in fact, a Archaeological Survey of India survey, they knocked the doors of the Supreme Court directly, not even coming back to the Allahabad High Court. Just a caveat was filed by them. But do you think that all these moves that the Muslim side is making is just by way of a fear, or what fear does the Muslim side have if at all the Archaeological Survey of India survey is carried out?
I have told just now that real Shivling, that the artificial Shivling is beneath the main dome. This is underlying, that it is suppressed, hidden, that will come out after a survey. And a number of artifacts, I will not repeat all those artifacts, you will all know, because this was found during Advocate Saurabh survey. Slow, Trisul, number of artifacts, garden artifacts, western wall, and plain. The under dome, there is another dome. Then you come out, everything, and the age will come out. What is the age? They are old, more than 1,000, 2,000 years before. Aurangzeb came in 1669. So how they prove that we are saying correct, and these are the Hindu temples which were demolished, and then so-called mosque was constructed. We are going to be.
Last and final question. Last and final question before I let you go is that, the Muslim side has constantly argued that, there is a hue and cry being made and nothing was done for years, but a hue and cry is now being made by the Hindu side with regards to a survey. Do you think that this is some time of a change of circumstance that the Hindu side is now constantly arguing for a survey, or had it been happening for years?
No, I could not understand what you are saying.
I'm saying that the Muslim side had constantly argued before the Allahabad High Court that a sudden hue and cry is there with regards to a survey being carried out. There is a hue and cry by the Hindu side that constantly a survey should be carried out, but nothing was done for years, and now suddenly this hue and cry has come out. So do you think that what do you think about these submissions that the Muslim side is doing to the court?
These are flimsy arguments. That is for the gallery. That is for the public. It is not an argument in court. Court will never accept all these things. A suit was filed in 21. The application has been given after the 7 Rule 11 application was decided in our favor. The suit is maintainable. So there is no delay. The panel started going. One will say it is too late. Other side say no, it is too early. So these are all things that bring the argument. There is no less to stand. Now we will see in Supreme Court. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vishnu Shankar Jain, for speaking to us. And as I was pointing it out, this is a crucial order coming in from the Allahabad High Court, though a detailed order copy is awaited. Shreya, back to you.
Right, Ananya. Well, Ananya.
ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद केस के सिलसिले में वाराणसी कोर्ट ने 21 जुलाई को ASI सर्वे का ऑर्डर दिया था और उसके खिलाफ मुस्लिम साइड ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 26 जुलाई तक सर्वे पर रोक लगाई और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट से रुजू करने का ऑर्डर दिया और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में के सामने बात रखी गई और आज इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने सर्वे की इजाज़त दे दी है और जाहिर सी बात है कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है उस पर अमल किया जाएगा। लेकिन मुस्लिम साइड यही चाहता था कि ये जो हमारी तकरीबन 600 साल पुरानी मस्जिद है उसमें किसी किस्म की कोई खुदाई ना की जाए, तो कोर्ट ने मालूमात के हिसाब से उसमें खुदाई करने की बिल्कुल भी इजाज़त नहीं दी है, खुदाई करने से मना किया है। और हम लोगों का एक ज़ाहिर बात है केस ऑलरेडी चल रहा है प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट को लेकर के, और ये कानून इसीलिए बना था कि जितनी भी प्लेसेस हैं वर्शिप की उनका जो स्टेटस 15 अगस्त 1947 को था वो मेंटेन रहे। हम लोग सब यही चाहते हैं कि इस कानून का पूरी कड़ाई से इस पर अमल किया जाए जिससे कि अब कभी किसी भी इबादतगाह को लेके कोई कंट्रोवर्सी ना हो।
क्या मुस्लिम साइड जो और भी अदालत सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी इसको चैलेंज करेगा हाई कोर्ट के इस फैसले को?
नहीं, यकीनी तौर पर मुस्लिम साइड के पास अभी ये एक ऑप्शन मौजूद है कि इस ऑर्डर को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने चैलेंज किया जाए जिससे कि कोई राहत मिल सके।
अभी कल ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद के लिए एक और पिटीशन फाइल।
Right, so we just heard the Muslim side about this particular verdict, what their opinions are and what their strategies will be next. Now we have Ananya Bhatnagar continuing with us live on this broadcast. Ananya, my next question to you is about the fact that was there any other undertaking apart from the affidavit that the ASI had to give to the court before this verdict came out?
Well, the ASI had submitted undertaking by way of only an affidavit that was filed before, in fact, the Allahabad High Court, clearly indicating that, they would only be carrying out radio imagery or GPR techniques and no kind of excavation would actually be carried out at the Allahabad, at the Gyanvapi site, and very clearly no kind of a damage to the structure of in fact, that particular site would be carried out, so that damage could not take place to that particular site, and that's clearly asserted and undertaken by the ASI not only before the Allahabad High Court. And if you remember, when the matter had reached the Supreme Court, the Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta too, who was representing the UP government and also the Archaeological Survey of India, had given a clear undertaking that no kind of excavation would be done, no kind of damage to the particular structure would be carried out. And in fact, before the Allahabad High Court itself, a detailed affidavit was given out by the Archaeological Survey of India detailing down the steps of this particular survey, how would this survey be carried out, who would be the members in that particular, survey, the team that would be carrying out this particular survey, where all this survey would be carried out. A clear mapping of that particular survey has been pointed out, and what techniques, most importantly, would be used in order to, ascertain the findings of this particular survey as directed by the Varanasi court would be carried out by the Archaeological Survey of India. Very, very clearly a big win coming in from for the Hindu side. Now the next option available to the Muslim side is to knock the doors of the Supreme Court. That they will definitely be doing, and as sources have also confirmed, the legal team of the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee has also confirmed to us that they will first wait for the order copy
Right, Ananya.
of
Ananya, do continue staying with us. We have some more reactions coming in. Let's have a look at that first.
इंसाफ के ऊपर भरोसा करें।
योगी आदित्यनाथ ने ANI को इंटरव्यू में बोला था कि मुस्लिम समाज को ये अपनी भूल को स्वीकार करना चाहिए। भूल थी उन्होंने, क्योंकि वहाँ त्रिशूल के पाए गए हैं और वहाँ शिवलिंग है। क्या देखिए के बाद अगर आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे का भी फैसला कुछ उस तरह से आता है?
आज हमारे देश को कम्युनल हार्मोनी की बहुत सख्त जरूरत है, नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन की सख्त जरूरत है। हमें कोई भी काम, कोई भी स्टेटमेंट ऐसा नहीं आना चाहिए जिससे हिंदुस्तान के रहने वालों के बीच में फासले बढ़ जाएं। मिलाने की कोशिश की जाए, न कि दूर करने की। थैंक यू।
मैं अदालत के फैसले का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं और मुस्लिम भाइयों से मैं अपील करता हूं कि उन्हें शालीनता से
बात हुई कि थोड़ा और जल्दी करिए और संख्या बढ़ाएंगे और मशीनें लेंगे। नहीं और बढ़ने की संभावना है, लेकिन ASI टीम है और यह डेट जो 4 तारीख जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा रहे हैं, हम भी कैबिनेट दाखिल करने के लिए जा रहे हैं। हमारे कहने का मतलब कि जो सत्य है वह सत्य ही रहेगा।
मतलब आज आप कैबिनेट दाखिल करेंगे? बिल्कुल
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। हमारी पक्ष मानी नहीं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट नहीं सुना जाए, हम हर पल रहेंगे और सत्य की ही विजय होगी।
इस बीच बड़ी खबर यहाँ पर ये भी कि कल शुक्रवार
Right, so that is what the Hindu side had to say and the MPs had to say about this big decision that has come out right now. And well, what we know right now so far about the verdict is that yes, the verdict has come out in the favor of the Hindu side. The ASI survey is to continue taking place as it had begun initially, but right now we are also getting a particular reaction from Farooq Abdullah. Let's have a look at what he had to say.
Your first reaction, sir?
भैया यहाँ सबको जैसा ही हो।
सर बोल के जाइए सर।
होना चाहिए।
सर कुछ तो बोल दीजिए।
हिंदू पक्ष कह रहा है कि वो मंदिर है और उनकी ये जीत है। भैया मंदिर हो या मस्जिद, वो सबका एक ही है। आप उसको मंदिर में देखिए या मस्जिद में देखिए, कोई फर्क नहीं। सर्वे होना फिर तो ठीक है। नहीं डालता
उच्च न्यायालय के आदेश का हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ASI की सर्वे के माध्यम से सच्चाई बाहर आएगी। व्यापी का जो विवाद है, श्री राम जन्मभूमि विवाद की तरह इसका भी निर्णय होगा, निस्तारण होगा और शिव भक्तों की जो मनोभावना है, मनोकामना है, वो पूर्ण होगी।
Right, so we heard what the MPs had to say, and right now we have Ananya Bhatnagar joining us back on this broadcast. Ananya, let's go into the speculations as to what can the Muslim side now be basing their plea on, given that 2 courts have already heard them out and yet they have come out in favor of the Hindu side, giving a go-ahead to the particular survey that is in question here.
Well, definitely the legal basis of it would actually remain the same. They would be arguing constantly that, Section 75 the CPC only directs for scientific survey to be directed only when the oral evidence is not, sufficient, when the court could not reach a conclusion after the oral evidence or the documentary evidence that is available on record. And that was the premise of their particular case. They've been constantly saying that, the case has not reached the trial state, and then also, a scientific survey has been called for into this particular case. And now, very, very clearly, that would be the major basis of the Muslim side's plea. They would also be arguing, as it was being Mr. Huzaifa Ahmadi was appearing for the for the Muslim side at the Supreme Court, was constantly arguing that they are arguing that constantly that damage would be caused to this particular structure. The Archaeological Survey of India would destroy this particular structure, is what they've been saying. And in fact, if you remember that the Allahabad High Court, there was an exchange between the lawyers for the Muslim side and of the Chief Justice, where the Chief Justice actually questioned them as to what is the fear that is there in their mind, whether it's incident like Babri being repeated, and the Muslim side lawyers had actually accepted and saying and responded in affirmative that they fear some kind of such an incident could actually take place. But the Archaeological Survey of India, before the Allahabad High Court, before the Varanasi District Court as well, has constantly been saying that they would not be causing any kind of a damage to the structure that is there. They would be just conducting a survey through GPR techniques, through dating processes, and also radio imagery would be carried out at this particular site, as it was pointed out by the Solicitor General of India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, at the Supreme Court of India. So how much of it does it succeed before the Supreme Court is something that is also a matter of time. We'll get to know. But the premature argument of the Muslim side, the Hindu side please too premature, is something that would constantly be argued before the Supreme Court as well. So we'll have to wait as to how things pan out and whether the matter reaches the Supreme Court or not.
Right, Ananya, thank you for bringing us all those details, and we will keep coming back to you for more such updates on what the other reactions that are emerging on this Gyanvapi verdict that we received today. But for now, we're going to slip into a short break. Stay tuned to CNN News 18 as we bring you the latest right here.
सिटी माना जाता है, तो इस तरीके के जो वायलेंस हो रहा है, इस तरीके के जो हिंसा हो रही है, वहां पे कंपनियों को बोला जा रहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम कीजिए, स्कूल कॉलेज सब बंद है, क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि गुड़गांव की जो छवि है उस पर ठोस पहुंचा सकती है इसके वजह से?
नहीं, बिल्कुल खराब नहीं होने देंगे। कल जैसे ही वहां पर ये हुआ, मैंने उसी वक्त सीपी गुड़गांव से बात करी और सिर्फ फोर्स भेज के उनको ठीक भी कर दिया और लोगों को बुलाकर उनसे बात भी कर ली। हम पूरी तरह से, हमारी पुलिस लगी हुई है, चप्पे चप्पे पर हरियाणा पुलिस खड़ी है और किसी को भी अब हम किसी प्रकार से, मैं लोगों से अपील भी करना चाहता हूं कि देखिए पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है, आप प्रदेश की शांति व्यवस्था बनाए रखने के लिए आप हमारा सहयोग करिए। किसी प्रकार की उत्तेजनात्मक पोस्ट किसी सोशल मीडिया पे मत डालिए, अगर आती भी है तो फॉरवर्ड मत करिए।
साहब बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। सो दैट वाज द होम मिनिस्टर ऑफ हरियाणा इन द हॉट सीट, taking on the allegations and the criticism really that the police did a shoddy job of first controlling what happened in New and then subsequently allowing the violence to flare up in other parts of Haryana. But the opposition is having none of this. Joining me now is the former Chief Minister of the state and the current Leader of the Opposition in the Haryana Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Bhupinder Singh Hooda, thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us. The government has said, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear what the Home Minister said just moments ago, he says that this is a well-planned conspiracy and that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. I want to know your first reaction to what the Haryana government is saying.
This is what I said yesterday also. If it is a well-planned conspiracy, then why government was sleeping? Why didn't it take preventive steps? They're just putting 4 home guard there. Actually, whenever procession like that goes, it is duty of the government to provide security.
Okay.
And see that there is no law and situation खराब होती है, नहीं होनी चाहिए.
But Mr. Hooda,
government is failed government, non-performing government.
But
government has to perform.
But Mr. Hooda, ये बताइए कि if there is a mob of 600, 700 people with weapons, with lathis, stones, pistols, who are attacking this yatra, and 100 people have been arrested since Monday, how do you say that the government has not been proactive enough? How do you say that the government...
Welcome back. You're watching the breaking news show on CNN News 18, and right now we are following what the big verdict that has come out with regards to the Gyanvapi case. And right now we are going to go into the depths of the verdict. that is the nod for the scientific survey that has been received. Firstly, the impact of the ruling. Findings of ASI would become part of evidence in case the study on whether Aurangzeb razed the temple to build mosque. Scientific study on the Hindu character of the site, and the ASI study could help exempt suit from Places of Worship Act if proven an ancient monument. Places of Worship Act won't apply. So these are the particular impacts of the rulings, and right now we're going to slip into a short break, but do stay tuned to CNN News 18 as we bring back more on this verdict right here.
Because they are saying that over 40 FIRs have been registered, over 100 people have been detained, have been arrested.
It is all peaceful area. The feeling of all brotherhood over there. This first time happening because of this laxity of the government. Government should have anticipated this thing. It should have prevented. It could have been avoided. It is not that.
But Mr. Huda, you don't see this as a concerted attack on Hindu processions. The procession that got attacked by the Bajrang Dal, it had police permission. It has been going on there for the last 3 years, is what I'm given to understand. This is the 4th year. Yes, there were some provocative slogans that were raised, but the response to provocative slogans can't be stone pelting from rooftops, using guns, using heavy duty weapons, ramming a bus into a cyber police station. Those are the act of criminals. How do you respond to that?
That is later on. Police, that has to be, everything has to be provided, security has to be provided. I see, during my time, there were so many yatras going on, even political processions, they go, that security is the duty of the state government to provide security.
No, but normalcy is slowly being restored, not just in Haryana, but I believe tensions are persisting in other states as well, one of which happens to be Rajasthan, which is run by the Congress. The violence has spilled over into Rajasthan. What do you have to say about that? Because this can't be seen purely from a political prism, a BJP or a Congress prism, because even in Rajasthan, there is the spillover of this violence.
Whether it is Rajasthan, whether it is Haryana or anywhere, the brotherhood should be maintained. See, this is not good for the country, and especially Haryana. You see, many MNC, they are saying they have declared holiday. It is going to harm state as a whole. So, prime duty of the government, state government.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Breaking on News 18. My name is Aisha Varma and this is the 11 a.m. bulletin. In a big development and in a win for the Hindu side in the Gyanvapi case, the Muslim side's plea has been rejected and the ASI's scientific survey has been allowed. The HC has stated that the survey is necessary in the interest of justice. The Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee, which is the caretaker of the historic mosque in Varanasi, had filed a petition before the HC saying that the ASI survey will damage the religious structure. But the survey can now start at any time now that permission has been given. The legal team of the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee has confirmed to CNN News 18 that they will decide their next move after the detailed order comes out. Remember, the Hindu side claims that the mosque was built on the site of a temple.
भी ऑर्डर है उसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने हम लोग तैयार हैं वो जब चाहेंगे हमसे अगर मदद मांगने पर उनकी पूरी मदद दी जाएगी।
एसआई की टीम ने आपसे संपर्क कभी नहीं किया?
अभी नहीं किया, उनके करस्पॉन्डेंस आते ही हम उनको जो सहयोग चाहिए वो प्रदान करेंगे।
शहर में भी मौजूद है कि नहीं
टीम अभी है ही नहीं यहाँ पे।
सर, पिछले बार जब एसआई टीम गई थी कुछ लोगों ने चाबी उनको नहीं तहखाने की चाबी नहीं मिल पाई थी, तो क्या तहखाने की चाबी के लिए
इस संबंध में एएसआई द्वारा कोई लिखित हमको दिया नहीं गया। यदि देने पर फिर हम लोग आगे उस पे कार्रवाई करेंंगे।
क्योंकि जो कोर्ट पे ये मांग की गई है उसमें से वजूखाने को छोड़कर संपूर्ण जो परिसर है उसकी एएसआई जांच की मांग की गई है, तो तहखाना भी कहीं न कहीं उसी रेंज में आता है कि वहाँ पर भी एएसआई की जांच हो, क्योंकि संपूर्ण
उस पर कोई टिप्पणी करना उचित नहीं है। जो यहाँ पे जो सर्वे के लिए ऑर्डर हुआ वजूखाना छोड़ के, उस ऑर्डर के क्रम में ही ASI यहाँ पे आया था और फिर क्योंकि माननीय उच्च न्यायालय की स्टे होने के कारण फिर टीम यहाँ से चली गई है और फिर से जैसे मदद मांगेंगे करेंगे।
चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने ये कहा है कि ASI ने एफिडेविट फाइल किया है और उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में
जो लिखित एफिडेविट दिया गया था
जी, उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में सर्वे किया जाए। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि जब ASI ने एफिडेविट दिया है तो कोई मतलब नहीं है उसको डाउट करने का, और जो ASI ने एफिडेविट दिया उसके कंप्लायंस में ये पूरा सर्वे किया जाए। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट का फैसला तत्काल प्रभाव से प्रभावी हो चुका है, ये भी आदेश में हुआ, और सिविल सूट जल्दी से जल्दी डिसाइड किया जाए, इसमें कोई एडजमेंट ना हो, ये भी कोर्ट ने आदेश पारित। हाई कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि जितने हमने केस लॉज दिखाए थे, लीगल पोजीशन यही है कि ASI सर्वे किसी भी स्टेज पे हो सकता है।
मस्जिद कमेटी और हिंदू पक्ष दोनों का ही फायदा है कि ASI सर्वे हो, तो इससे निचली अदालत को फैसला देने में आसानी होगी, ट्रायल में आसानी होगी। हालांकि कोर्ट ने यह भी कहा है कि आज के फैसले से केस की मेरिट प्रभावित नहीं होगी, ये केवल और केवल एक प्रोसेस है। मतलब हिंदू आज जीत गया, मैं ये भी कहता हूँ, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बनारस में आपका आदि विशेश्वर का पूरा स्ट्रक्चर है, मंदिर का पूरा अवशेष है, ये एडवोकेट कमीशन रिपोर्ट में आ चुका है, तो हमें लगता है कि हम लड़ाई यहाँ से जीत चुके हैं।
उच्च न्यायालय के आदेश का हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ASI की सर्वे के माध्यम से सच्चाई बाहर आएगी और ज्ञानव्यापी का जो विवाद है श्री राम जन्मभूमि विवाद की तरह इसका भी निर्णय होगा, निस्तारण होगा और शिव भक्तों की जो मनोभावना है, मनोकामना है, वो पूर्ण होगी।
इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ज्ञानवापी प्रकरण में आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे की कार्रवाई को अलाउ कर दिया है। जो मुस्लिम पक्ष जाके हाई कोर्ट में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चुनौती थी और उसके आलोक में हाई कोर्ट उन्हें कहा गया था कि आप आइए, और वहाँ पे पूरा विचारण हुआ और आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे ने अपना हलफनामा देके अपने सारे तथ्यों को रखा कि किसी प्रकार से ढांचे को नुकसान नहीं होगा, और साथ में यह भी हिदायत है उसमें कि जो वजूखाना है जिसमें शिवलिंग प्रकट हुए हैं उसको किसी प्रकार से नुकसान या छेड़छाड़ नहीं की जाएगी, उसमें कोई हस्तक्षेप नहीं होगा। और ये पूरी तरह से पूरे परिसर का जो बैरिकेटेड एरिया है, रकबा नंबर 9130 जिसमें कथित ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद अवस्थित है, उसके सर्वे कराने की बात आ गई है।
निर्णय स्वागत योग्य है और सही बात है कि ऐतिहासिक तथ्यों को झुठलाकर जो भ्रम पैदा किया गया था, उस भ्रम का अगर निपटारा हो रहा है तो मैं हाई कोर्ट के निर्णय का स्वागत करता हूं और मैं मुस्लिम समाज से भी अपील करता हूं कि अब सच को सामने आने दें और सच को स्वीकार करने का साहस दिखाएं। इसको राजनीति से या वैमनस्यता के आधार पर निर्णय न करें, क्योंकि राम जन्मभूमि को सैकड़ों साल तक वैमनस्यता के आधार पर रखा और अंत भला सो भला, जो सच था वो सामने आया और सच को सबने स्वीकार किया।
इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट ने ज्ञानवापी परिसर में ASI सर्वे की इजाजत दे दी है। यहाँ पर मुस्लिम पक्ष की तरफ से जो इंतजामिया की जो याचिका थी उसको खारिज किया गया है, यानी कि तत्काल प्रभाव से जो 21 जुलाई को वाराणसी जिला कोर्ट का फैसला था वो कोर्ट का फैसला मान्य होगा। ASI की टीम, आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया की टीम कभी भी ज्ञानवापी परिसर में पहुंच सकती है, जैसा कि हिंदू पक्ष की तरफ से कहा गया। दरअसल यहाँ पर जो दलीलें थी वो दी गई थी दोनों पक्षों की तरफ से, लेकिन कोर्ट ने कहा है कि सर्वे करवाने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। मुस्लिम पक्ष का ये कहना था कि जो सर्वे होगा, अगर खुदाई होगी तो जो मूल ढांचा है, जो ज्ञानवापी परिसर इस वक्त आप देख पा रहे हैं, ये मूल ढांचे को क्षति पहुंचेगी। लेकिन ASI ने जो एफिडेविट दिया था उसमें कहा था कि मूल ढांचे को क्षति नहीं पहुंचेगी, क्योंकि ये सर्वे साइंटिफिक तरीके से होगा। इस वक्त की सबसे बड़ी खबर मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, जिस पर पूरे देश की नजरें टिकी हुई थी। ASI सर्वे को मंजूरी ज्ञानवापी परिसर में इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट ने दे दी है। ये सबसे बड़ा फैसला इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट की तरफ से दिया गया है।
हम महाराष्ट्र से आए हैं और ASI का जो सर्वे होगा वो पूरी तरह से ज्ञानवापी मंदिर हिंदू पक्ष के तरफ से उसका निकाल लगेगा, क्योंकि त्रिशूल हिंदू के मंदिर में रहता, जो मस्जिद का आकार दिख रहा है वो पूरा मंदिर की तरह है, जो भी अवशेष दिखे हैं वो पूरे मंदिर के हैं करके जो जिस तरह से अयोध्या राम प्रभु का मंदिर हिंदू के लिए मुक्त हुआ, वैसा ही
हर हर महादेव, हर हर महादेव, हर हर महादेव। इस फैसले को हम अच्छी नजर से देख रहे हैं और ये हम लोग के हक की बात है। आज काशी विश्वनाथ की दर्शन के बाद ये सूचना हम लोग को मिली, अच्छी मतलब खबर मिली, जिससे हम लोग बहुत प्रसन्न हैं।
फैसला स्वागत योग्य है और जल्द ही हम लोग के पक्ष में फैसला आएगा और मंदिर भव्य मंदिर बनेगा।
We're crossing over to CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar. We also have CNN News 18's Siddhant Mishra with us on the broadcast. But right now we're going to first come to you, Ananya. Ananya, when it comes to this big verdict that's come out, it's a win for the Hindu side. Can you explain what the next steps are for the Muslim side? Do they have any legal options left?
Well, the Muslim side lawyers have confirmed to us that they will be moving the Supreme Court. But before taking any kind of such decision, they will first go through the detailed order copy that is there, that would be coming out today from the Allahabad High Court. And only after studying that particular judgment from the Allahabad High Court, they will be in fact, taking forward any steps to either approach the Supreme Court or to take any other legal recourse are available to them. But at this point of time, the only legal recourse that is there with them is to approach the Supreme Court, challenge this particular order of the Allahabad High Court. And in fact, the Hindu side lawyers have also been telling us that, they are constantly in deliberation as to whether to or not to file a caveat into this particular case. They will be filing a caveat and would be moving, in fact, the Supreme Court also, if at all the Muslim side makes such a move, and they will be there to oppose any kind of legal strategy that the Muslim side has, and would maintain that the ASI survey should actually go on. Remember that it was August 4, that was the deadline set by the Varanasi District Court when it had directed for an Archaeological Survey of India survey at the Gyanvapi site, except for the Wazukhana area, which all of these areas that are to be surveyed include the central dome, the two pillars on the northern and the southern side, the western wall, where there are engravings of mantras and in fact idols of the Devi as well. So the Archaeological Survey of India might also move the Varanasi District Court, seeking for an extension of the timeline that was set by the Varanasi District Court, claiming that there was a stay on that particular order, and that's the reason why in fact a survey could not have been carried out on the Gyanvapi site, and that move can also be made by the Archaeological Survey of India, because it was the ASI that was directed by the Varanasi court to conclude the survey and submit a report by August 4. So what will happen next is something very, very important, that either a legal move would take place, and since there is no kind of a bar at this point of time, the ASI can actually begin its survey at this point of time as well.
Ananya, one more question before we cross over to CNN News 18 Siddhant Mishra, who also remains with us. Considering that the Muslim side was worried about damage being done, all right, we're going to cut across to the Hindu side lawyer.
हम लोगों ने कहा था कोई मध्यस्थता कबूल नहीं है, एक एक इंच हिंदुओं का है वो आपको देना होगा, तो वो मिला था। और आज भी हम मध्यस्थता नहीं मानते, हम कोर्ट जो कहेगा हम उसको मानेंगे, संविधान से देश चलेगा।
तो आप देख सकते हैं ये हिंदू पक्ष के वकील शशि चतुर्वेदी कोर्ट में मौजूद थे और उनका ये कहना था कि कोर्ट का ही फैसला हम मंजूर करेंगे। राम जन्मभूमि में भी यही हुआ था, और अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट
स्वीकार किया है और माना है कि ऐसा ही सर्वे वास्तव में जरूरी है। देखिए, हर आदमी जानता है, आप सब जान चुके हैं, मैं उसको रिपीट नहीं करूंगा। कोई एक नहीं, 50 हिंदू चिन्ह ऐसे हैं जो आर्टिफैक्ट है, जो कि चीख चीख के कह रहे हैं, दीवारें कह रही हैं, पश्चिमी दीवार कह रही है, गुम्बद के नीचे पुराने शिखर है वो कह रहे हैं कि पुराने मंदिर का अवशेष है, जो प्लिंथ है पुराने मंदिर का जिसके ऊपर ये ढांचा खड़ा है, तो कोई भी कह देगा।
All right, crossing back to CNN News 18's legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar. Ananya, is it possible that we could see representatives from both sides take part in the ASI survey as well?
Well, definitely they will be there. In fact, when the ASI survey was directed the last time as well, and when the ASI team had reached, the 30-member team of the Archaeological Survey of India, when it had reached the site, there were representatives from both the sides, whether from the Hindu or the Muslim side, they were there. While the survey was being conducted, it was just a radio imagery that was being carried out at that point of time, and the GPR mapping was being done in order to check as to where the GPRs are to be installed. Remember that GPRs are ground penetrating radars, which are, which is a machine basically consisting of two-part transmitter and a receiver, and from the transmitter waves are sent beneath the ground, so that to check as to whether there is something that is beneath the ground, and if at all it would also map as to what is under beneath the ground, following which the signals are sent to the receiver to map that particular area where something could actually be found after an excavation. Now, apart from that, the another technique that would be used by the Archaeological Survey of India is the two dating methods. One is the absolute dating method, which could actually tell about the archaeological age of a particular structure, while the second is the relative dating method, which could actually determine the archaeological age in terms of a particular structure along with another thing in comparison. So like if at all it has to be ascertained as to whether this was a temple that was built before Aurangzeb actually came into existence is something that could be done by the relative dating method. Both the remains of the temple and the remains of and the mosque would be compared, their archaeological age would be determined, and it would be known as to which was the one that existed earlier, whether it was a temple that was raised by Aurangzeb and then a mosque was built over it, or was it a mosque itself since its very inception. So we'll have to wait and watch for all of that to come in, but the next big move that can come in from the Muslim side is to stop that survey by approaching the Supreme Court, and whether or not the Supreme Court also grants a stay on this particular survey is something that is a matter of time. We'll get to know whenever the matter reaches the topmost court of the country.
Absolutely. Ananya, do stay with us. We also want to get a word in from CNN News 18's Siddhant Mishra. Siddhant, so one of the observations that's been made by the court is that the survey does need to be conducted in the interest of justice. Tell us about what the petitioners have been saying.
Well, both sides have put up their case before the courts, and in fact, Muslim side had to say they made several points. The point number one was that there was no breather given. So the orders from the lower court came on Friday, and then ASI teams started the scientific examination on Monday. So there was no breather given. Second, they also raised doubt in their petition that despite scientific techniques being applied, the GPR technique and the other technique which Ananya was talking about, there is a possibility of a structure getting damaged. And in fact, in one of the paragraphs, it also mentions that there is a possibility of Wazukhana getting damaged. And the third and the most important one, that it violates the Worship Act of 1991. So these were some of the points which were raised in the Supreme Court first, and then during the hearing in the High Court. But the courts have come to this understanding, and in fact, the courts also expressed their doubts regarding the damage of the structure in case excavation takes place. To which ASI has assured court by filing an affidavit explaining the entire process, especially the techniques that they are going to use and how those techniques are not going to damage the existing structure. At the same time, the entire exercise is going to be videographed, photographed, and the same would be submitted to the designated court in case the Muslim side raises any doubt. So when such assurance came from ASI and the government, then this order today came where court allowed or perhaps withheld the order of the lower court to allow ASI to do the scientific examination. And in fact, the judge also went on to say that this particular exercise is justified. So, a very significant order coming from the Allahabad High Court. But as Ananya was pointing out, that the Muslim side still reserves the right to move to the Supreme Court. It would really be interesting to see whether the Supreme Court again listens to their plea of moving against the order of the Honorable High Court. But what we have been told is that by 4th of August, the time which was given to the ASI team to submit the report to the lower court, that was the deadline given by the lower court. So there could be a possibility that ASI teams will move again to the lower courts. They will apply for the more time for the survey, citing the legal battle they were fighting in Supreme Court and the High Court, because of which delay happened in the entire exercise. And then this entire exercise of scientific examination can again start at the Gyanvapi Mosque site. And remember, all parties involved in this entire case are allowed to be present at the site and around the site to see what exactly is happening. So the process is completely transparent. And since, it's a very sensitive case, it involves the beliefs, the faith of lot of people. So even courts are also handling this entire matter very carefully. And at the same time, the administration, ASI and the government is also handling it very carefully on ground. Back to you.
Absolutely. Siddhant and Ananya, do stay with us. What we're going to do right now is tell you what this scientific survey, which is going to be conducted by the ASI, implies. Number one, it's a big step towards the resolution of the age-old dispute. Now, next, the scientific study is going to be specifically on the Hindu character of the site. Remember, the Hindu side claims that the mosque was built on the site of a temple. Now, number three, the study may also provide scientific backing to the arguments. Next is that the ASI findings would become part of the evidence in the case, which is going to be important when it comes to the arguments in court. And beyond this, the study is going to be on whether Aurangzeb had raised the temple to build the mosque. Now, next is that it may decide if the Places of Worship Act applies or doesn't apply. Beyond this, let's take a look at the Muslim side's plea, which has been rejected, and the arguments. But before we tell you more about that, we'll cross back over to our correspondents who remain with us. Ananya, has any timeline been given for the ASI survey to be conducted? Could it begin today?
Well, it can actually begin at this moment of time as well. It is for the Archaeological Survey of India to actually do it. But we'll have to wait for the detailed order copy to come out if at all a timeline has been given. Because remember that the Varanasi District Court had said that, the survey has to be conducted in a week, and August 4 is the time when a report was to be submitted before the Varanasi District Court. But whether or not that timeline has been extended by the Allahabad High Court by virtue of its detailed judgment is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. Whether there are certain kind of restrictions that are there on excavation, as it was a clear indication and a threat by the Muslim side that they fear that there would be excavation and the whole site would be destroyed, is something that needs to be seen in the detailed order copy whenever it comes out in this particular case. So we'll have to wait and watch for that. But at the same point of time, this is a big win for the Hindu side. Clearly, the ASI survey getting a stamp from the Allahabad High Court itself. Now, the only option left for the Hindu side is to actually, for the Muslim side, is to actually approach the Supreme Court. When do they do it is something that they've been telling us, that they will first be going through the order copy. They will be checking up the details of that particular order, seeing as to what has the court said in its order, what is the reasoning given as to why ASI survey has been allowed, and why has the court said that, this is something that is the need of the hour, that is something that is in interest of justice. What are the reasonings given for that is something that the Muslim side will be analyzing, and then will be, framing their.
सबको मालूम है, जो सच है उसको आंच नहीं कहते हैं। मतलब ये बाबा की मर्जी थी, बाबा की मर्जी से ही सब हो रहा है, और बाबा की मर्जी से ही योगी और मोदी सरकार बाबा के प्रेरणा पा के ये काम किए हैं, जो पिछले 75 सालों में कांग्रेस की सरकार ने नहीं की।
ठीक है, शंख है आपके पास।
हम इस सब को गर्व करते हुए हम शंखनाद कर रहे हैं हनुमान बाबा काशी विश्वनाथ धाम। हर हर महादेव।
भक्त बेहद खुश है, कह रहे हैं बाबा की मर्जी से ये हो रहा है। आप कैसे देख रहे हैं इस फैसले को?
जो 3 तारीख से सर्वे तय किया गया था, आज 3 तारीख हो गया, और विश्वनाथ जी का जो फैसला हुआ था आज हो गया, लेकिन सत्य को कितना भी छुपा ले छिपता नहीं है, जो है से है। अगर विश्वनाथ जी की मंदिर बनेगी, अगले साल तक पूरी बन जाएगी और अगले साल रुद्राभिषेक करेंगे।
तो देखिए, भक्त हैं और शंख यहाँ पर बजाए जा रहे हैं भोले के जयकारों के साथ यहाँ पर, और जो लोग यहाँ पर पहुंचे हुए हैं बेहद उत्साहित है। प्रतिक्रियाओं का दौर भी जारी है। हिंदू पक्ष के वकील का क्या कहना है, ये हम सुन लेते हैं।
We're crossing back over to CN News 18, Siddhant Mishra. Siddhant, what are the assurances that have been given to the Muslim side? Because the biggest worry was about damage being done during the survey.
Well, yes, that's right. So, in fact, in Supreme Court also the similar doubts were raised. But in fact, then also the senior lawyers representing Government of India assured the court that there is no excavation taking place. There is not going to be any sort of a damage to the existing structure because of this exercise. So that assurance was given to the Supreme Court as well. But Supreme Court stayed the order of the lower court and referred the case to the High Court only on the grounds that there was no breather given to the Muslim side. And since there was no breather given to the Muslim side, so the Muslim side was asked to move to the High Court for a regular hearing to the objections that they have raised in the Supreme Court. So now this regular hearing took place in Allahabad High Court, and in fact, Muslim side raised, Mr. Naqvi representing the Muslim side, raised multiple doubts and objection to this entire exercise by saying that it is happening at a jet speed, the way this entire process is taking place. He also said that this exercise could damage the existing structure. It can also damage the Wazukhana area, which from the orders of the Supreme Court, the ASI cannot touch. So certain doubts were raised in the petition which was filed by the Muslim side. Then ASI assured the court that these are the scientific exercise backed by the scientific technology, and in fact, the techniques that they are applying will not damage the structure. There will not be any kind of excavation taking place at the site, and in fact the entire sequence is going to be videographed, photographed, and all those things were said by ASI in the court. After which court came to this understanding that this particular exercise is required for the justice, and it is important, and this is a reason that this order came from the Allahabad High Court that ASI teams can.
कोर्ट को गुमराह नहीं किया जा सकता, कोर्ट तो सबूत के आधार पर चलता है.
Now with that, we're going to be heading into a very short break, but do stay tuned for more on the other side.
Restore law and order and brotherhoodness.
Okay, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, former Chief Minister of Haryana and current leader of the opposition in the assembly there. Thank you very much for speaking with us. The man in the hot seat is the Home Minister of Haryana. Anil Vij is now joining us. Vij साहब बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. अभी हम FIR की कॉपी भी हमारे दर्शकों के साथ शेयर कर रहे थे. इसमें तो साफ तौर पे लिखा है कि ये ऑर्गेनाइज कंस्पिरेसी थी. नू में जो ये हिंसा जो शुरू हुआ, अब लगता है कि हरियाणा के जो बाकी जगह है वहां पे भी ये हिंसा फैल रही है. 6 लोग मर गए हैं. आप कह रहे हैं कि 100 से ऊपर लोगों को आपने गिरफ्तार कर दी, राउंड अप कर दी, 40 से ज्यादा FIRs भी दर्ज किया. लेकिन ये बताइए, 3 दिन से और अलग अलग जगहों पे हिंसा फैल रही है. क्या ये पुलिस और प्रशासन की तरफ से विफलता नहीं है? हम क्यों ये माने कि आप लोगों ने ठीक किया या आप लोगों ने सही काम किया? ये तो पूरी तरह से आप फेल हो गए.
देखिए, ये प्राइमरी काम नहीं है. प्राइमरी काम है सारे प्रदेश में शांति को बहाल करना, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करना, और वो हम कर रहे हैं. हमने 30 कंपनियां मेवात में डाली हैं, नू में डाली हैं हरियाणा की. 20 कंपनियां जो हमें केंद्र से मिली हमने वो वहां पर डाली हैं. नू में 8 थाने हैं, हमने 8 जोन्स में उनको बांटा है और हर जोन में एक IPS को हमने ड्यूटी लगाई है. पूरी तरह से जो साक्ष्य मिल रहे हैं CCTV से या अन्य संसाधनों से, जो मिल रहे हैं, जो जिनकी इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उनको हम पकड़ रहे हैं. 41 FIR कल रात तक दर्ज हो चुकी थी और 116 लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया जा चुका था. 90 के करीब हमने डिटेन कर रखे हैं. हम जांच कर रहे हैं कि उनकी संलिप्तता इसमें है या नहीं है. अगर संलिप्तता होगी तो उनको भी गिरफ्तार करेंगे. माय प्राइमरी जॉब इज टू मेंटेन पीस. पहला काम मेरा ये है कि वहां पर पीस बहाल की जाए, नहीं लोगों में विश्वास पैदा किया जाए कि पुलिस पूरी तरह से आपके साथ है. आप निर्भीक होकर, निर्भय होकर आप अपनी दिनचर्या करें, आप अपने
नहीं विज साहब, लेकिन ये बताइए, पहली चीज, ये नू की जो स्थिति थी, इस तरह इतना मतलब बुरी तरह इसको कैसे बिगड़ने दिया आपके पुलिस और प्रशासन ने? दूसरी चीज, हमारे पास ये भी जानकारी है कि, और एफआईआर में भी ये लिखा है कि 500 से 600 लोग एंटी सोशल एलिमेंट्स वहां इकट्ठे हुए, उनके पास पत्थर थे, उनके पास लाठी थे, पिस्तौल, स्वॉर्ड्स, सब चीज थे उनके पास। ये इतनी भारी संख्या में इतने लोगों को आपने वहां कैसे इकट्ठा होने अलाउ किया? क्या हम ये ना माने कि ये पुलिस की तरफ से इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर थी और पुलिस की तरफ से लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के भी फेलियर थी कि इतने भारी संख्या में लोग वहां इकट्ठा हो गए?
Welcome back. It's been 4 days since the new incident and unrest still continues in various parts of Haryana. Members of the Bajrang Dal and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad held protest rallies in several parts of Delhi yesterday and vowed to continue protesting. The centre is going to be cracking down on social media handles inciting mobs via the new violence. Now, it has been found that everything started with social media. Handles have been narrowed down and soon they will be blocked as well. The Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar has warned of strict action against the perpetrators and has said that the government won't spare the guilty and has assured compensation to the victims. CNN News 18 has accessed the FIR registered in the case, which stated that it was a well-planned conspiracy where 600 to 700 vandals pelted stones at the police at Allahabad Chowk in New during the yatra.
ये सारा जो विषय आया है, इसके पीछे किसका हाथ है, कैसे शुरू हुआ, इन सब बातों के ऊपर भी प्रोसेस चल रही है। उस सारी प्रोसेस में कोई भी दोषी है उसको बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। ये सारी योजना हमारी इसमें बनी है। नू में जो लॉस हुआ है, नुकसान हुआ है, प्रॉपर्टी का भी वहाँ जान माल सब नुकसान हुआ है, तो जान के नाते से अलग घोषणा करेंगे, लेकिन उनका जो माली नुकसान है, गाड़ियाँ फूकी हैं, कुछ और एसेट्स जो दुकानें हैं, तो उसका भी इसी पोर्टल में एक प्रकार से जानकारी लेंगे और उसी आधार पर उसकी भी स्कीम बना करके उनको सबको दिया जाएगा। देखिए, जहाँ तक मोनू मानेसर की बात है, मोनू मानेसर के खिलाफ जो पिछला केस एफआईआर वो राजस्थान सरकार की है। राजस्थान पुलिस उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने के लिए स्वतंत्र है। हमारी मदद जितनी चाहिए उनको करेंगे। आउटसाइडर्स का चूंकि अब लगातार जितने सोशल मीडिया पर जो चीज़ें चली हैं उनको भी चिन्हित किया जा रहा है। हमारा जो साइबर डिपार्टमेंट है उसमें लगा है।
Now, earlier today, we received an exclusive breaking input that was as per Haryana police sources and what they've been able to tell CNN News 18. It essentially said that there was sufficient evidence when it comes to the idea that the new violence started because of conspiracy. They said that as per the initial intel, the attack was done in a calibrated manner and that they're in the process of scanning social media evidence. After that, we received the information that the center is going to be cracking down on social media handles that were involved in inciting the mob to essentially carry out the violence that we saw in New when it erupted on Monday. Now, what else had the Haryana police sources told CNN News 18? They'd said that they were going to be collecting data, call data records, so that they can establish the exact sequence of events that has taken place and that essentially started the violence in New. Now, when it comes to what's been taking place recently, over the last 24 hours, there has been no major incident of violence that has been reported. Rather small instances of violence has been reported in a sporadic manner. And also yesterday, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, they'd held a protest as well, along with the Bajrang Dal, in several parts of the capital yesterday. They have also vowed to continue protests. When it comes to Section 144, that still remains in place. Haryana is still on alert. Now, as we mentioned, the centre is going to be cracking down on social media handles who incited the mob through the new violence. Now, it has been found, and this is particularly important when it comes to the probe that's taking place. Apparently, everything started with social media. And when it comes to the handles that are soon going to be blocked, they were reportedly acting via Twitter and Facebook. We're crossing over to CNN News 18's Anshul Singh, who's joining us live. He's been on the ground reporting on the incidents that have taken place in New. Anshul, tell us more about the latest updates when it comes to the new violence and the restrictions that are in place.
So yes, the situation at this point in time is absolutely normal. Over the last 12 hours, there have been no reports of any sort of violence that has happened anywhere, especially in the district of Gurugram. There were reports of some violence that happened in Nuh, but yes, the police has denied those reports at this point in time. So yes, the situation is slowly getting back to normal. In fact, in Nuh, the restrictions are being lifted. The curfew restrictions are being lifted for a few hours so that people could actually venture out of their houses and get the essential goods that are necessary for them to survive. So yes, the police and the administration at this point in time is trying to make sure that the situation remains calm and peaceful, and also measures are being taken, confidence building measures are being taken by the local police to reinstill confidence and to do away with the fear amongst the locals, and hence several flag marches are being conducted across districts just to reinstill the confidence amongst the locals at this point in time. So yes, over the next few days, what we are expecting that the restrictions would be lifted in a good manner, so that whatever restrictions that are over here, the kind of confidence that has gone down amongst the locals, the confidence can again grow. But yes, there is still a sense of fear, because yes, the Hindu groups at this point in time are very, very angry and agitated, because the manner in which arresting has been happening by the Haryana police, that is something that has agitated them even further, and calls of protest are being given. But since Section 144 has been imposed across 7 districts in Haryana, hence the permission for these rallies.
All right, Anshul, thank you for joining us and bringing us those details. We're going to cut across to the Parliament right now.
अब हम इसको रोज उठा रहे, उधर से रोज सजेशन हो रहा नहीं. मेरा सजेशन यही है कि आप 1 बजे इसके लिए अपने चेंबर में बुला रहे हैं. ठीक है, तब तक आप हाउस एडजर्न करिए और हम बैठकर 1 बजे तो फिर यहाँ पर आएंगे, फिर वो समस्या को सुलझाकर हम यहाँ पर बैठेंगे. ये मेरा विनंती है आपसे.
थैंक यू ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स.
सर ये बड़ा छोटी सी, आप छोटा सजेशन भी नहीं मानते. प्राइम मिनिस्टर यहाँ आने दो बोले तो वो भी नहीं मानते, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर को आप इतना डिफेंड कर रहे, मुझे समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा. ये अनपार्लियामेंट्री है.
प्लीज सर.
अरे ये हर बात को
प्लीज सर. I got a point.
अरे भाई ये डेमोक्रेसी है.
Please.
ये क्या बाउंडेड लेबर है आप?
No, please.
इस चीज को करने के लिए
nothing will go on. Please. Honorable members.
Sir, आप बुला रहे.
Honorable members. 1 second. Please take your seat. Honorable let me respond to what the LOP has said. No. Honorable members. We must always be alive. Would you please take your seat? Then take. Nothing will go on record. Take your seat. Sorry. Don't disrupt the house. Honorable members. Leader of the opposition has put out 3 things for consideration. I'll take up the last one. That concerns the Honorable Prime Minister. We must always be alive to a situation that we are a nation of more than 1.3 billion people. We are a democracy, most functional, vibrant, globally recognized. India is the only democratic nation in the world that has constitutional democracy at the village level, at Panchayat Samiti level, at Jila Parishad level, apart from state and there. If our Prime Minister is not required to be defended by me, he has come to be recognized on global platforms, Senate and Congress in the US. Imagine the kind of response. Every Indian should be proud. We must be proud of it. No, you cannot have an approach. Why are you shirking from the hard reality? India is rising as never before. The rise is unstoppable. It is on account of all of us. Everyone has contributed to it. Such a global recognition. I am not required to defend anyone. The Prime Minister, honorable members, after 3 decades of coalition governance under the leadership of the Prime Minister, you had 2014, you had 2019 electoral results. I am not required to defend anyone. If I am required to defend anyone, I am not required to defend right, I am not required to defend left, I am required to defend Constitution. I am required to defend your rights. Therefore, such an observation coming from leader of opposition is not very wholesome. We cannot have it, you see. We must be proud of our government, proud of our citizens, proud of our developments. Where are we? Honorable members, where are we heading? Political stance, you are entitled. I am not a stakeholder in politics. One second. I am not a stakeholder in politics. I am not concerned with politics of parties. I am concerned with governance. I am concerned with growth of the country. No. Honorable members, matters raised with permission, Dr. Sumer Singh Solanki. Dr. Sumer Singh Solanki.
धन्यवाद.
Nothing has been on
माननीय
record.
सभापति महोदय, नर्मदे हर मैं आपके माध्यम से सरकार एवं सदन का ध्यान देश के एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय की ओर आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं. माननीय सभापति महोदय, देश भर में बोरवेल और ट्यूबवेल के खुले गड्ढों में गिरने से न जाने कितनी ही मासूम जिंदगियां की किलकारियां हमेशा के लिए बंद हो रही है. यह सरकार एवं समाज के लिए गंभीर चिंता का विषय है. अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही मध्य प्रदेश के विदिशा जिले के खेरखेड़ी पठार गांव में खुले बोरवेल में गिरने से 7 वर्षीय बालक लोकेश को नहीं बचाया जा सका. इसी प्रकार मध्य प्रदेश के दमोह, विदिशा, उमरिया जिले में भी मासूम जानों को नहीं बचाया जा सका. अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही महाराष्ट्र के अहमदनगर जिले में खुले बोरवेल में गिरे 5 साल के बच्चे को तमाम कोशिशों के बाद भी नहीं बचाया जा सका. तमिलनाडु के त्रिची शहर के नाटुकाटुपत्ती गांव में बोरवेल में गिरे 2 वर्षीय बालक सुजीत को भी एनडीआरएफ और एसडीआरएफ की टीमों की हर मुमकिन कोशिशों के बाद भी नहीं बचाया जा सका. पंजाब के संगरूर जिले में 150 फुट गहरे बोरवेल में गिरे 3 साल के फतेहवीर सिंह को भी नहीं बचाया जा सका. माननीय सभापति महोदय, विगत वर्ष उत्तर प्रदेश के बुलंदशहर में वाराणसी के पिंडारा में भी ऐसी घटनाएं घटित हुई जिसमें 6 साल की मासूम बच्ची 13 वर्षीय अनिकेत यादव की भी मौत हो गई. हरियाणा के हल्देड़ी गांव में 2006 में 5 वर्षीय प्रिंस के 50 फुट गहरे बोरवेल के गड्ढे में गिरने के बाद न्यूज टीवी चैनलों ने रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन के दृश्य लाइव दिखाए थे, जिससे पूरी दुनिया का ध्यान इस प्रकार के हादसों की ओर गया था, जिससे यह भी उम्मीद जगी थी कि भविष्य में ऐसे हादसे सामने नहीं आएंगे, परंतु आज भी स्थिति ज्यों की त्यों बनी हुई है. माननीय सभापति महोदय, नेशनल क्राइम रिकॉर्ड्स ब्यूरो की 2015 की रिपोर्ट के अनुसार साल 2014 में देश में जहां बोरवेल में गिरने वाले बच्चों की संख्या 48 थी, वहीं 2015 में बढ़कर 71 हो गई. तमिलनाडु के बारे में 2014 में एक फैक्ट फाइंडिंग टीम ने गृह मंत्रालय को सूचित किया था कि इस राज्य में 2010 से 2012 के बीच 561 बच्चे बोरवेल में गिरे थे, जो कि अब यह आंकड़ा हजारों में पहुंच गया है. माननीय सभापति महोदय, 2006 में हरियाणा के प्रिंस बोरवेल में से निकालने के बाद 2015 तक 16,000 से अधिक व्यक्ति, महिलाएं और बच्चे खुले गड्ढे में गिरने से उनकी मौत हो चुकी है. तमाम बचाव कार्यों में करोड़ों रुपए खर्च होते हैं. ऐसे भयावह हादसों को देखते हुए 2010 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी बोरवेल के
All right, we're crossing over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, who's joining us on the broadcast right now. Pallavi, so again, it seems to be between 176 and 267. As of yet, there's still no discussion on Manipur. It's day 11 of Parliament now.
Yes, but it's not just now limited to Rule 176 versus 267. The objections are also on twofold. Is that if the Prime Minister has time to travel elsewhere, why is it that he comes to Parliament, meets up with his ministers, but still not come inside the Rajya Sabha? That was the point which was made by the delegation which met the President of India a few days back in the memorandum yesterday, in fact, when they met the President of India. That's one. And second, important bills like the Delhi bill, the data protection bill, all of them are being bulldozed, because when you have a pending no confidence motion, then you don't take up any other legislation. You first dispose of the no confidence motion, and then only do you decide to take up any of the bills which the government clearly is not listening to.
Now, one thing that Mallikarjun Kharge had to say in the House was that precedent was to prioritize 267. What precedent is he referring to?
The precedence essentially is that, first of all, the Prime Minister needs to be present on matters of national importance, and also the Rule 267, if there are at least 50 notices pending, then you have to take it under Rule 267 first and not give priority 176, which is what the government has done, which has agreed to a debate and discussion under Rule 176. In fact, if you remember, Piyush Goyal had announced that I'm ready to begin, in fact, I'm beginning the discussion on Manipur today under Rule 176. What the Congress President is also saying is that there is a precedence to show that, one, the pending notices, which are more in number. Two, why is it that precedence is being given to other matters the government cannot decide on its own when there are more notices in favor of Rule 267 rather than Rule 176?
Pallavi, I request that you stay with us. There's some breaking news coming in. The Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar is going to be meeting floor leaders in his chamber at 1 p.m. today to decide on the Manipur debate. To get us more on this, we're crossing back over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, over to you.
So over the last few days, we have been watching that how the chairperson of the House has been actually meeting up with representatives of different political parties, whether it's been the Congress President Jairam Ramesh, Derek O'Brien, DMK leaders, only in an attempt to break that deadlock between both the sides. The point which is being raised by the Vice President repeatedly is that there is a decorum which needs to be maintained. We are ready to listen to you. It's the ruling of the chair really which decides under which rule the discussion needs to take place, and that he cannot ask the Prime Minister to come and sit inside the Rajya Sabha. That's the prerogative really of the government. This is the kind of peace which is being attempted to be brokered, but obviously it's just a one-way process, with the opposition leaders refusing to listen to the olive branch which is being extended both by the government and by the chairperson.
For those who are just tuning in as well, would you be able to explain what's been taking place in Parliament when it comes to the Manipur issue since the session began on the 20th?
Well, in Rajya Sabha, as we know, there's a demand coming in from the opposition parties of 267. As far as the Lok Sabha goes, in Lok Sabha, there is a no confidence motion which is going to be taken up on 8th. It's going to end on 10th with the Prime Minister's response. I think more than what you're talking about the Manipur issue, important to highlight the two other big bills which are going to come up today. The Delhi bill, certainly the Delhi Ordinance bill, which is going to be taken up for passage by the Lok Sabha. That has also seen a semblance of divide within the opposition, with parties like the BJD, the YSR, all of them decided to vote along with the government. And that is a blow to the attempts by the India front opposition parties to try and get more and more parties on their side. They've also been labelled as B team of the BJP, that's one. Second, this is certainly going to be a blow for the Aam Aadmi Party because it truncates the power of the Delhi Chief Minister. Third, on the positive side, I think in a long time and in a first really, AAP and Congress Party are on the same page only because of the Delhi Ordinance Bill.
Absolutely. Pallavi, do stay with us because there's some more breaking news coming in. This is a statement that's come in from Piyush Goyal saying, and I quote, "I can assure that this government from day one has been keen to debate on it. We stand with the people of Manipur. Request the floor leaders to join us for a cup of tea to figure out how to resolve and move ahead." We're crossing back over to CNN News 18 senior editor after we listen into this bite.
I will request my senior colleagues from different parties to join me for a cup of tea, and we'll have a discussion and we'll sit and work out how the House will work, how we can make sure the House runs in an orderly fashion. There are very important bills before the House. Today we have 3 bills listed, each one of which is important, and we would like to ensure the participation of all members.
Pallavi, when it comes to the floor, to the meeting that we're going to be seeing with the floor leaders and the RS chairman at 1, is it possible that we can see the opposition not take part in that meeting?
If you could just repeat your question once again, please, Aisha.
Absolutely. Is it possible that the meeting that we're going to be seeing at 1 p.m. today between the floor leaders and the RS chairman, is it possible that the opposition will not be taking part in this meeting?
Well, I mean, tough for me to really predict that, because so far no boycott call has been given by the India Front opposition parties, and they have been meeting the chairperson. In fact, they used the parliament proceedings to make the point that, you know, the rule 267 needs to be given priority over rule 176. They are not agreeing with the chairperson's argument that both the notices were given on the same day. They say that a majority of the sense of the house is that there are more notices in favor of 267. I think they may want to seize that opportunity in that meeting that they take place with the chairperson. So far, no word yet on whether they're going to be boycotting. I think even yesterday we saw pictures of them meeting up with Mr. Piyush Goyal and in the presence of the chairperson as well. But there was one meeting which took place as far as the Lok Sabha goes, where the opposition parties had actually boycotted both the Business Advisory Council meeting, which decides on the agenda for the Lok Sabha for the week, plus a meeting which was called by the Speaker.
Absolutely. Pallavi, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us all of those details. With this, we're going to be shifting focus to a positive story from CNN News 18. Mukta Ben Dagli from Gujarat's Amreli district lost her vision to meningitis at the age of 7 and had to drop out of school. But due to her determination to get educated, she convinced her parents to send her to school for the blind. Take a look at her story.
Rising India brings you a story of Mukta Ben Dagli, who through her unrelenting efforts and spirit has shown us it is never too late to rise and fight for our less privileged. At the age of 7, Mukta Ben Dagli lost her vision to meningitis and had to drop out of school. But she was determined that education is the only way to a better life. A resident of Ankadia Nana, a small village near Gujarat's Amreli district, Dagli convinced her parents to send her to a school which was for the blind. It was a tragic news that changed her life. At 14, Dagli found out that one of her friends died after she was allegedly fed poison by her parents for being blind. And after this incident, Dagli decided to serve the differently abled. Dagli was fortunate enough to find a life partner who was in sync with her goals. In 1995, Dagli started the Pragna Chakshu Mahila Seva Kunj with her husband, a non-profit organization which provides education, food and accommodation to blind girls.
आज इस संस्था में 200 लड़कियां हैं, 20 बुजुर्ग माता हैं, 35 ऐसी लड़कियां हैं कि जो अपने आप कुछ कर नहीं पाती हैं, जो मल्टी हैंडीकैप हैं, उनको लनाना, कपड़े पहनाना आदि सब उनका जो नित्य क्रम है वो हम खुद कर रहे हैं.
Till now, the 61-year-old has shaped the future of over 200 blind girls, and in addition to that, she has also undertaken the responsibility of taking care of people with various disabilities and the elderly who have been abandoned by their families. Her inspirational story won her accolades from Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat podcast. Mukta Ben Dagli is a recipient of over 50 awards, including the Padma Shri. She is an inspiration to many, and her courage is a reflection of rising India's She Shakti. We at the News 18 network salute Dagli for breaking the barriers and believing in Main Kar Sakti Hu.
अंतरिक्ष भी छू सकती हूँ. सरकार हो या कारोबार, हर बागडोर संभाल सकती हूँ. उठाए अगर कोई दुश्मन आंख, तो करारा जवाब दे सकती हूँ. कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर सबके साथ बढ़ सकती हूँ. मैं कर सकती हूँ. सोच की दीवार हो या बंद हर किवाड़ हो, अपने हौसले से पार कर सकती हूँ. देश के निर्माण से लेकर दुनिया को आगे ले जाने में अपनी भागीदारी निभा सकती हूँ. मैं शी शक्ति हूं, मैं कर सकती हूं।
And with this, we're heading into a very short break, but do stay tuned. We'll be right back.
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा है, बिना तथ्यों की जानकारी के मैं नहीं कह सकता। मैं इसकी जांच कराऊंगा कि क्या किसी के पास इनपुट था, अगर था तो उसने किसको बताया, किस लेवल के अधिकारी को बताया, किस लेवल की घटना होने वाली थी, क्या वहां तक बताया या नहीं बताया। तो हम करेंगे ना जी, उसके बाद करेंगे ना जी, इस बात को करेंगे जांच। में बख्शता तो किसी को हूं नहीं, आप सब जानते हो, मैं किसी को नहीं बख्शूंगा अगर किसी ने कोताही बरती है। लेकिन अभी किसी नतीजे पर पहुंचना ठीक नहीं है। हाँ, एक बात जरूर लगती है कि किसी ने मास्टरमाइंड किया है, क्योंकि साइमल्टेनियसली कई स्पॉट के ऊपर हिंसा होना ऐसा कभी दंगों में हुआ नहीं करता जब तक कि उसकी प्लानिंग ना की गई हो। ऐसे नहीं हो सकता कि मैंने गुड़गांव से पुलिस भेजी और बॉर्डर पर ही वो उन्होंने गोलियां चला दी। इसका मतलब किसी को पता था कि ये जलेगा और बाहर से फोर्स नहीं आने देंगे। ये सारी बातों की हम जानकारी करेंगे। अगर किसी ने मास्टरमाइंड भी किया है, उसकी भी तथ्यों सहित। लोग बहुत कुछ कह रहे हैं, कई लोगों का नाम ले रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं किसी की नहीं मानता। मैं तो वो बात को मानूंगा जो तथ्यों सहित मेरे सामने आएगी।
नहीं, इसके तो ये बताइए विद साहब, ये जो हिंसा हमने देखी नू में, उसके बाद उसके प्रतिक्रिया में या उसके रिएक्शन में जो गुड़गांव में फैला गया, जो बादशाहपुर में हमने देखा, पलवल, काफी सारे जगहों में हरियाणा में ये हिंसा फैल गई। गुड़गांव तो आपको पता ही है कि आईटी का सेंटर है, एक तरीके से देखेंगे तो पूरे नॉर्थ इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा आईटी सिटी माना जाता है। तो इस तरीके के जो वायलेंस हो रहा है, इस तरीके की जो हिंसा हो रही है, वहां पे कंपनियों को बोला जा रहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम कीजिए, स्कूल कॉलेज सब बंद है। क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि गुड़गांव की जो छवि है उस पर ठोस पहुंचा सकती है इसके वजह से?
नहीं, बिल्कुल खराब नहीं होने देंगे। कल जैसे ही वहां पर ये हुआ, मैंने उसी वक्त सीपी गुड़गांव से बात करी और सिर्फ फोर्स भेज के उनको ठीक भी कर दिया और लोगों को बुलाकर उनसे बात भी कर ली। हम पूरी तरह से, हमारी पुलिस लगी हुई है, चप्पे चप्पे पर हरियाणा पुलिस खड़ी है और किसी को भी अब हम किसी प्रकार से, मैं लोगों से अपील भी करना चाहता हूं कि देखिए, पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है। आप प्रदेश की शांति व्यवस्था बनाए रखने के लिए आप हमारा सहयोग करिए। किसी प्रकार की उत्तेजनात्मक पोस्ट किसी सोशल मीडिया पे मत डालिए, अगर आती भी है तो फॉरवर्ड मत करिए।
साहब बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। सो दैट वाज द होम मिनिस्टर ऑफ हरियाणा इन द हॉट सीट, taking on the allegations and the criticism really that the police did a shoddy job of first controlling what happened in New and then subsequently allowing the violence to flare up in other parts of Haryana. But the opposition is having none of this. Joining me now is the former Chief Minister of the state and the current Leader of the Opposition in the Haryana Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Bhupinder Singh Hooda, thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us. The government has said, and I don't know if you got a chance.
Welcome back. There's some breaking news coming in, which we're going to be focusing on. We're learning that the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is meeting with Prime Minister Modi and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in the national capital. Later today, he is also going to be meeting with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and the Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari. Now, remember, this comes about a day after Siddaramaiah arrived in the capital. Yesterday, he had met with the Congress High Command to chart out strategy ahead of the 2024 elections. Right now, the visuals that we're showing you are of the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah meeting with the Prime Minister. We're crossing over to CNN News 18's Payal Mehta for more on this. Payal, do we have any details on what the meeting was about?
Right. What we have been able to see, we've been able to see Siddaramaiah in Parliament. He in fact has met Rajnath Singh, the Union Minister for Defence, followed by the Prime Minister. Right? So obviously, after he's taken over as the Chief Minister of Karnataka, obviously these are courtesy meetings, and these are meetings where he will be discussing issues concerning the state with the central leaders.
Now, what is on the cards? Because we know that he's already met with Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Later today, he's also going to be meeting with Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and the Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari as well.
As a Chief Minister of a state, he obviously will come to the centre to look at various projects and various developmental issues that concern his state, and this is going to be no different. There are several Chief Ministers. In fact, just as we speak, the Himachal Chief Minister, Mr. Sukhu, is also in Parliament. He's also meeting the Prime Minister in a short while from now. So obviously, Chief Ministers have come to the centre to meet the central leaders to actually, find out about the development push as far as the states are concerned. And obviously, concerning various ministries, they do have these meetings very regularly.
All right, Payal, I request that you stay with us. We also have CNN News 18 Shreen Elizabeth joining us on the line right now. Shreen, tell us more about the meeting that's taking place.
It is in fact a series of meetings. He's right now meeting the Prime Minister. And this is the first time that he's meeting the Prime Minister after being elected as the Chief Minister. So this is going to be, in fact, a very crucial meeting as far as Karnataka is concerned. Apart from that, like Payal mentioned, there are, in fact, other meetings with the Union Ministers like Nitin Gadkari, Nirmala Sitharaman. He has already met Rajnath Singh. So all these meetings are going to happen in the Parliament itself. Now, what is interesting to note here is that Siddaramaiah, who is in the national capital for a 2-day visit, in fact, before leaving for the national capital, he did tweet out that, whether the Prime Minister do support the 5 guarantee scheme that has in fact been launched by the Congress party. Now, the issue here, the concern here, what the sources within the Congress party has been saying is that the allocation of the fund, there is in fact the trouble when it comes to fund allocation to these schemes. Probably that is why Siddaramaiah has in fact come down to the national capital to meet the Prime Minister to seek more fund as far as this guarantee 5 guarantee scheme is concerned. Now, how will that go on from here is something that we have to wait and watch for. But before entering the Parliament, media did ask him the question that if there is a crunch of funds, to which he said these are baseless allegations. These are fake news being created by the BJP. So he is refuting that there is any sort of crunch as far as the allocation of funds are concerned. But clearly coming down to the national capital, though it is being termed as a courtesy meeting, but meeting the Prime Minister clearly shows that there are some issues when it comes to the funds, and probably he might be speaking to the Prime Minister regarding this at the meeting that is happening right now.
All right, Shreen and Payal, thank you so much for joining us and giving us those details. We're going to be shifting focus. There's some breaking news coming in. We're learning that the Trivandrum police has registered a case against the NSS prayer protest. The police has said that the organizers did not take permission for conducting the protest, and the case is also for disruption of traffic. Now remember, the protest yesterday was against the Speaker A.N. Shamsher for allegedly hurting Hindu sentiments. The police say that whenever marches happen without permission or they violate the regulations given by the police, these cases are registered. We're crossing over to CNN News 18's Neetu to get us more on this. Neetu, tell us more about the protest that took place and about the case that's now been registered.
Now, the protest that took place yesterday was an NSS prayer protest. This was against Speaker A.N. Shamsher, allegedly for hurting Hindu beliefs. Now, the police have registered a case stating that the organizers did not take permission from the police for taking out this protest march. And yesterday evening, the protest march from Palayam outside the Gyanvapi temple till East Fort, and they say that it is for disruption of traffic also that they have registered this case. Now, this entire issue had turned political also. Speaker A.N. Shamsher, while speaking to a group of students on July 21st in a program, had said that science should be promoted and all problems that there are right now will be solved with this promotion of science. And he went on to quote saying that in Hindutva times now, earlier during his times when he studied, if the question was asked who invented the aeroplane. It was the Wright brothers, but right now they talk about Pushtaka Vimanam, and also said that in Hindutva times they are trying to teach that the first plastic surgery was done on Ganpati, and such myths are being projected as signs. So this was the speech of the speaker, to which the objection was taken, and the BJP had also lashed out. The Congress also had said that the speaker should withdraw this statement. In issues like this, you should be very careful. Now, the CPIM as well as the speaker has clearly said that the speaker was only projecting or promoting scientific temper, which is as part of the constitution, and the speaker said that he did not say this it was not his words. He had quoted the Prime Minister, who spoke about this in 2014 and said that such myths are being promoted or projected as signs. So this is the whole controversy over this.
All right, Neetu, thank you so much for joining us and bringing us those details. Let's listen into some statements that have come in on this story.
I'm not against any religion. I am respecting all religious sentiments and religious beliefs. There was an unfortunate incident is taking place in Kerala regarding my speech I had made in July 21st at the Kundatnad Assembly segment. We had to promote science because in this Indian context, science should be promoted. Unfortunately, somebody is telling that science promoting Hinduism. They are giving more importance to, they are telling that aeroplane has been invented by Hindu community. And also plastic surgery is at the time of Hindu period. These all are baseless. So I spoke regarding the science. The brain behind this propagation is Sangh Parivar. Look what's happening in India. They are trying to distort the history. They are trying to tamper science.
No, Mr. Shamsir should resign immediately. He lost his moral authority because he is sitting in the chairmanship of the assembly, he is the president of the legislative assembly. How can he say such things in a particular community? No, he is saying that this is a myth. All the religious practices are myth, deities are myth. So this is the act of Mr. N. Shamsir is, nobody can accept this such kind of statements. The leaders, Mr. Mohammad Riyaz, Mr. Shamsir, continuously doing this. Their statements, behavior, speeches, hate speech, all these things are against Hindu. Purposefully, CPM is trying to consolidate the Muslim vote bank.
ആചാരക്രമങ്ങൾ, അവരുടെ വിശ്വാസങ്ങൾ, അവരുടെ വ്യക്തി നിയമങ്ങൾ, ഇതിലേക്ക് ഗവൺമെന്റോ കോടതികളോ പോലും ഇടപെടാൻ പാടില്ല എന്നാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ നിലപാട്. സ്റ്റേറ്റിന് അധികാരമില്ല എന്നതാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ നിലപാട്. അപ്പൊ വിശ്വാസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അവരുടെ സ്വന്തമാണ്. ചരിത്ര സത്യവും ഉണ്ട്, അതുപോലെ വിശ്വാസ സത്യമുണ്ട്. വിശ്വാസികൾക്ക് ചരിത്ര സത്യം പോലെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടതാണ് വിശ്വാസ സത്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കാര്യം. അപ്പൊ ഈ ശാസ്ത്രബോധത്തെ മതവിശ്വാസവുമായിട്ട് കൂട്ടി കുഴയ്ക്കണ്ട. ഒരു ശാസ്ത്രബോധവും ഒരു മതഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിൽ പറയുന്ന പല കാര്യങ്ങളുമായിട്ട് പൊരുത്തപ്പെട്ടു പോകാത്തതാണ്. അപ്പൊ ശാസ്ത്രബോധത്തെ സാധാരണ മതവിശ്വാസവുമായിട്ട് ആരും കൂട്ടിക്കുഴയ്ക്കാറില്ല. കാരണം ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊരു പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഭരണഘടനാ പദവികളിൽ ഇരിക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ കുറെ കൂടി ജാഗ്രതയോടുകൂടിയാണ് ഇത്തരം വിഷയങ്ങളെ സമീപിക്കേണ്ടത്. ആ ജാഗ്രത സ്പീക്കർ കാണിച്ചില്ല എന്നുള്ള പരാതി ഞങ്ങൾക്കുണ്ട്. ആ ജാഗ്രത കാണിച്ചില്ല.
Let me now bring in my Mr. Rahul Ishwar, who is joining us on the broadcast for more on this, on what is his view on these protests that have happened, over which the Trivandrum police has registered a case against the NSS prayer protester. Rahul, your views on the same.
NSS is one of the most pluralistic and harmonious organizations of Kerala and India. NSS officially takes a pledge that when they work for their community, they won't work against any community. It is in their official pledge. It is highly condemnable that the left government has taken such an action against NSS, who always professed harmony and bridge building. It is the arrogance of the left government. They should be retracting this, and NSS is a very moderate, restrained, full organization who hardly gives out such kind of comments. But only when they are provoked to such an extent, they come to the fore in defense of the beliefs. And every other responsible community organization, including the respected Muslim League, the Christian churches, have supported NSS because they are fighting for the right of all believers. They are fighting for Article 25 and 26, which is a fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution. So naturally, the Hindu community will be offended by such words. So NSS has every right to protest, and please look at the legacy of NSS.
All right, Rahul Ishwar, thank you so much for sharing your views on this story that we continue to track out of Kerala. And with that, let's shift focus. Thank you so much, in fact, for staying with CNN News 18. I'm Riha Atul, and I'd be now taking the broadcast forward for the next 60 minutes. And we begin with what is happening in Haryana. It's been 4 days since the new incident, and unrest still continues in various parts of the state. Members of the Bajrang Dal and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad held protest rallies in several parts of Delhi yesterday and vowed to continue these protests. The centre will be cracking down on social media handles only now. That, in fact, led to the inciting of mob through the new violence. It has been, remember, also found that everything started with social media. There was also a social media video that was in fact put by the cow vigilante, self-professed Bajrang Dal activist Monu Manesar, who in fact said that he is going to be visiting the new area. The handles have now been narrowed down and they will be blocked. In fact, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar has also warned of strict action against the perpetrators, and he's also said that the government won't spare the guilty, and he's also gone on to assure compensation to the victims. In fact, CNN News 18 also has managed to access an FIR that was registered in a case which was at the Adbar Chowk police station, where there were several vandals, 600 to 700 who peddled stones. There were also people who were there with swords in their hands, and there was an FIR that has been registered, and that FIR speaks about a well-planned conspiracy because of which this incident took place. However, when there were further press conferences within the state of Haryana, there were attempts that were being made that they are still looking at each and every aspect before really coming to any sort of conclusion.
Since violence broke out in Nu, and since then tensions have been simmering across districts in Haryana, especially in Gurugram. At this point in time, I am reporting from Bashapur area of Gurugram, where there were a few reports had come up that a few shops were set on fire. Fearing the hate, fearing the anger, many people have vacated their houses, as you can see in these visuals right here, that people who were living in these houses, these people were basically from the Muslim communities, and we saw that the manner in which Muslims were targeted out here, especially in Gurugram, and hence all these people have locked their houses and have gone away from here. What the other locals who have been residing in this area have told us is that there were no tensions that developed over here on the ground, but yes, these people had shops in the main market, and hence they feared that the situation could go out of hand and they could also be targeted, and hence all these people have vacated their houses and in fact have put these locks right in front of their houses. It has been 3 days. The police has constantly been saying that the situation is back to normal, but yes, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of fear that can still be sensed in the atmosphere out here in Bashapur. The police is saying that yes, they are taking preventive measures. Advocate booths are deployed on the ground just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Over the last 12 to 14 hours, there has been no new instances that have been reported of any sort of violence. The situation in Gurugram has been normal over the last few days. There has been no reports of any sort of communal clash that might have broken out over here. But yes, there are instances where shops have been set on fire of a specific community. And that is the reason why Section 144 has been imposed in this entire area, and flag marches like these are being carried out across Gurugram at this point in time. Because remember, currently at the spot at which I am standing, this is the Bashapur area in which we saw instance of fire happening, which eventually inflated the situation in this entire area, and hence the confidence of locals who are residing in this area has definitely gone down. These flag marches are being conducted just to make sure that the people who are affected by these, the fear that is still amongst the people, that fear is taken away, and it is proved that the police and the administration is on the roads making sure that safety and security is provided to them. Till this point, the investigation is ongoing in the violence that broke out in Nu. At least 139 people have already been arrested, 45 FIRs have been registered. Several special investigations team has been made by the Haryana police just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control, and also the perpetrators of the rioting that happened in Nu, these perpetrators are brought to the books at the earliest.
Other than those who have lost their lives and those who were injured in the riots in Nu, the worst hit people are the daily wage laborers. You can see as hundreds of them are fleeing Nu right now because they've been claiming that for the past 3 days since curfew has been imposed, they have no work, there have been no earnings for them, and they have also been threatened by locals to leave the area following the communal tension. Many of them belong to Jhansi and Rajasthan, and they are leaving Nu for Palwal, from where they can probably get some basis of commuting to Rajasthan so that they can live a normal life. They have uncertainty looming over their future, and that is the reason why they are leaving this place, this district, to go to another state in search of work. Their contractors have been missing, they have not been taking calls, the internet in the district is shut, and therefore they are leaving this place in search for work. Now, as uncertainty looms over their coming days and over their future and the future of the kids that they have with them, more than 500 or 600 of them who lived in Nu have already left the district, while others are preparing to leave.
And we're now getting some more breaking news on this entire controversy that brews out of Haryana that has its centre in Nu. Now we've been told that the 3-member SIT, the Special Investigation Team, has been formed to oversee the investigation in the communal clashes that took place in various parts of Haryana. My colleague Anvit, who's got us all of those details, is also joining us live to offer more perspective on this story. The latest piece of news where we are given to understand that an SIT team, this is a 3-member SIT that has been formed to oversee the investigation in the communal clashes that took place in Nu, the Mewat area of Haryana. Remember, there was a Bajrang Dal Yatra, a VHP Shobha Yatra that was slated to cross the Nu area, which has in fact 79% of the Muslim population and 20% of the Hindu population. They were in fact going to reclaim and also do Jal Abhishekam at various Hindu sites, which they claim to be Jyotirlings. And that's what led to this particular communal clash that has emanated out of Nu. We also are given to understand that there were several social media handles who had put out information about this particular yatra. One of them was information, a video that was put out by Cow Vigilante and a Bajrang Dal member, Monu Manesar, who in fact said that he will be attending this yatra. And because of that, there was ample retaliation that had took place. There were conspiracies that were hatched from within the Nu district. There were several people who had sent out apparently and allegedly information over WhatsApp, and they had also waited for this entire yatra to cross the Nu district, and that's why the yatra also saw a lot of stone pelting. However, while that is one aspect, the second aspect is that the members of the yatra were also carrying swords and batons, so they were also well prepared for a retaliation which they had already instigated on social media, and this is what is going to be investigated upon. My colleague Anvit is now joining us live to tell us about everything that this 3-member SIT is going to be looking at. Yes, Anvit.
Yeah, Griyasi, 3-member SIT has been formed to oversee the entire investigation in these communal tension that has overplayed in the past 3 days. And not just this development, but there has been development as far as the number of FIRs and number of arrests is concerned. Number of injured also, yesterday it was 60 that the police have told the official figure. It has gone up to 70 today. Okay. The number of total FIRs, that was 41 yesterday. 4 more FIRs have been added to it, and total number of FIRs remain 45 as of now. The number of injured has also gone up yesterday. The arrest increased. People arrested, it was 116 yesterday, it has gone up to 139. So more people have been arrested, we believe, and we are being told that they are right now at New police station and they will be produced at the court today and their custody will be sought. What update we have is that section 144 continues to be imposed in New area, but the curfew was lifted from 10 AM to 1 PM today for the local residents to arrange for essentials, and police have said that they will review the curfew situation by the end of today, and then it will be decided whether or not tomorrow they have to give more relaxation, because yesterday it was only relaxed for 2 hours. Today that duration was increased. So tomorrow there could be a possibility that for a larger time curfew will be lifted. Other than that, police have said that interview services that are suspended will also be reviewed at the end of the day today, and the school and colleges that remain shut, they are expected to be reviewed by Friday, because till Friday already the school and colleges are to remain shut. So over the weekend also it is expected that these educational institutes will remain shut, and by Monday possibly they'll be reopened again. But see, one important point, between 10 AM to 1 PM curfew was lifted, but again, see, like yesterday it was lifted, but it had no impact on the ground situation. Even today all the shops remained shut, all the shutters remained down, and there were hardly any people on ground. And when we went to those areas where these shops and market areas are, none of the shops were open. So it clearly testifies that, see, the tension prevails in the area, there is fear among the people. And also early in the morning we spoke to a group of migrant laborers who were seen leaving the state of Haryana. They were going to UP or to Rajasthan, to nearby neighboring states to find work, because for the past 3 days they have not been working, they have not earned a single penny, and they have small children, 3-year-old infants, 2-year-old, to whom they have to feed. So that is one problem that the migrant laborers are also facing. They have also alleged on camera that they were threatened by locals during the communal tension. So these are the key issues that the administration is currently trying to sort. But so far this is the update, and police and administration are saying that they are keeping a keen eye on the situation on ground.
Okay, all right, Anvit, I request you to stay on with us. We also are getting various reactions on this big story that we continue to track ever since the violence erupted out of the New district of Haryana. Now it is also spilled on closer to Delhi, that is the national capital region. We have an interview with ACP Varun Dahiya, who is taking stock of the situation. Let's take a look at what he had to say about the violence that has now spilled out to various other districts of the state.
So what is the current situation on the ground and your message to the people of Gurugram, sir?
Since last two days, like everything is just going normal, nothing to worry about. I have already urged many times to the city people as such, there is nothing to fear about. Everything is just going normal and under control. Nothing to worry about. Like I urge those people to any particular communities as such, there's nothing to worry about. Police is approachable. You can dial 112. If there will be any such incident happened, they can report. They can ask for any assistance or help. So there is nothing to about, like they need not to leave their place of work where they live. Gurgaon is based here, like I said, like it's for the people of all the communities. It's not just meant for somebody like that this particular community will gonna live here and other will not gonna. It's a place like where everybody comes from out of the world, from throughout the India. They work here, they settle here. So it's a very peaceful environment. Everything is under control that way. Yeah. 3 days, 22 FIRs have been registered, and in that 21 accused have been arrested. In that, we have already taken preventive actions against 42 people. We are identifying those people who usually get involved in any such activities. We are taking strict action. We are trying to identify more people who got involved in any such incident even. So we are taking strict action.
And let me take this across to my colleague Anshul, who's also joining us live on the broadcast. Anshul, we just heard your interview with ACP Varun Dahiya. Now, he ensures that the situation is now under control. But we were also looking at your ground reports from various places close to Badshahpur and the Gurgaon area, which is very, very close to the national capital. I would like to understand, if we juxtapose the statement that's been made by the ACP, how do things stand on ground?
On the ground, if you look over the facts, there has been no violence that has been reported in Gurugram over the last 24 hours, and that is the reason why the police is confident that the situation is getting back to normal. No restrictions have been made whatsoever in this entire district of Gurugram, except the Sona district, which saw violence broke out over there, which is very close to the new border as well. Now, internet service is ongoing out here in Gurugram, and the situation is normal at this point. At this point in time, there has been no new instances that have been reported, but yes, there is still a fear amongst the people that situation could deteriorate, could get out of hand, and that is the reason why, as I reported this morning, that few people have left from their houses and have gone back to their native villages because they feared that they might be attacked. But yes, the police at this point in time, specifically in Gurugram, police has registered 22 FIRs, 21 people have been arrested. In fact, the instance that happened where a religious structure was burned, 4 people have also been arrested in that matter as well. They will be presented in front of the court in the next few hours, is what we are being told. So yes, and more than 50 people have already been taken into preventive detention just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Also, flag marches are being conducted across the district of Gurugram just to reinstill the confidence amongst the people, and also the fear that has gone inside their heads. That fear should come down. This is the bare minimum that the police is doing at this time. Also, investigation is also ongoing on people who are spreading hate, who are mongering hate on social media, and FIRs have been registered in that context as well. So yes, the police is looking into this entire riot situation from each and every angle. The situation is peaceful at this point in time, but yes, there still is still a lot of fear amongst the people, and the police is trying to reinstill the confidence amongst the people of Gurugram.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Anshul. In fact, we are quickly shifting our focus to this next piece of breaking news that we are now getting from the state which is bordering Haryana, that is Rajasthan. In fact, in Rajasthan's Bhilwara, the burnt dead body of a minor girl has been found. In fact, we will be going to that story in just a bit. But let's, in fact, take a look at these visuals that we are playing out. These are the accused who have been detained by the police, and this is to do with the violence in Haryana. They have, in fact, been all taken into custody. This is after several investigation, and the police really took cognizance of the situation on ground. Anshul continues to be with us on the broadcast. Anshul, the fact that we are also putting out several other arrests that have taken place, we've just broken this information that the SIT has been formed to take a look at which way the investigation really is going. Now, what you're learning from your sources?
So yes, at least 10 SIT special investigation teams have been found by the Haryana police, and each of these SIT has been given a charge of 10 FIRs to look into. Now the process is on. The police is identifying the people who were involved in rioting, who were involved in the arson that broke out in Nu, and hence the arrests are being made. Till date, till this morning, the inputs that we have from sources on the ground is that 139 people have been arrested who were actually present in that violence that broke out in Nu, and almost 150 to 200 people have yet again also been identified as a part of that riot that broke out. So yes, the police is in the process of identifying these people and taking them into custody. Over the next few days, the investigation is going to continue, and more people will come out as more visuals would come to the police through the CCTV visuals and the investigation that is ongoing. So in the next few days, we are expecting that the number of arrests could actually go up. But yes, the police is looking into this entire matter.
Very quickly, anything that you're learning from these people who have been detained by the police, anything that they have given as part of the statement?
So the statements have not come to the fore at this point in time, because the police is taking them to the courts and taking their custody at this point. So once the investigation starts amongst all these people, because they will be investigated in batches, so that an exact timeline of the entire incident could be established. So once that starts, we could actually have more details regarding the investigation and in which direction is this investigation.
Thank you so much for that. We are now quickly moving to that piece of breaking news that we're getting in from Rajasthan, and this is coming in from Rajasthan's Bhilwara, where a burnt dead body of a minor girl has been found from bricks furnace. This is how gruesome this story is. The girl was in fact missing since yesterday morning, we are told. The family is making allegations now of rape. Adarsh Sidhu, who is the superintendent of police of Bhilwara, is also of the view that the rape angle cannot be ruled out, and they also have gone on to say that the investigation is taking place from each and every angle. However, the BJP has now spoken about the incident through social media, through tweets, that has ended up hitting at the Gehlot government in the state. And they of course are accusing the Gehlot government of a total failure of law and order in his state. Let me take this across to my colleague Bhavani, who's joining us on the broadcast now. Bhavani, first of all, ये बता दीजिए, ये घटना भिलवाड़ा की हमें बताई जा रही है। एक ब्रिक फर्नेस से इस बच्ची की डेड बॉडी मिली है और एसपी कह रहे हैं कि रेप एंगल रूल आउट नहीं किया जा सकता, लेकिन अभी जो डेवलपमेंट सामने आ रही है उसमें ये तय हो गया है, ये एस्टैब्लिश हो गया है कि ये रेप इंसिडेंट था, उसके बाद मर्डर था।
देखिए, अभी जो सर्कमस्टेंस है वो इस ओर इशारा कर रहे हैं। जब तक कि ऑफिशियली पुलिस की ओर से जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंप्लीट नहीं हो जाती है और इसमें जो एफएसएल जांच नहीं हो जाती, क्योंकि पूरे इस मसले के अंदर जो क्योंकि उसकी बॉडी नहीं मिली, पूरी जला दी गई है और उसके बाद में एक उसकी पैर की जो पायल है वो मिली है, तो एविडेंस काफी कम है। लेकिन जो सर्कमस्टेंशियल एविडेंस है वो इशारा कर रहे हैं कि उसके साथ में गैंगरेप हुआ है। बीजेपी ये एलिगेशन लगा रही है, क्योंकि जब तक ऑफिशियली पुलिस की ओर से इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंप्लीट नहीं होती तब तक कहना मुश्किल है कि हुआ क्या। लेकिन बीजेपी का ये एलिगेशन है कि गैंगरेप हत्या, उसकी हत्या की गई है और उसके साथ गैंगरेप हुआ, फिर हत्या की और फिर उसके बाद में उसको भट्टे में डालकर उसको जला दिया गया। ईंटों का ये भट्टा बनाने का, और वहां उसके अंदर उसकी बॉडी मिली तो वहां साफ तौर पर लग रहा है कि उसको जलाया गया। और सारे इस ओर एक जो कड़ी है इस ओर इशारा कर रही है। और बीजेपी ने 3 मेंबर्स की एक टीम बना दी है स्टेट लेवल की, जो वहां पर मौके पे जाएगी फैक्ट फाइंडिंग के लिए कि पूरे जो नजर आ रहा है कि क्या ये गैंगरेप हुआ है और हत्या हुई है। दूसरा, वहां पर जो लोग फैमिली है वो एलिगेशन लगा रही है कि गैंगरेप किया गया और उसकी हत्या करके उसको जलाया गया। पूरा गांव इस वक्त, गांव के लोग वहां पर धरने पर बैठे हुए प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं।
जी, एक और एस्पेक्ट जो आपने भवानी अब उसके बारे में जानकारी दी थी, अब ये भी सामने आ रहा है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जितने ट्विटर हैंडल्स हैं वो भी इस घटना के बारे में ट्वीट आउट कर रहे हैं और गहलोत सरकार के ऊपर ये एलिगेशंस लगा रहे हैं कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर कम्प्लीटली बहुत ही बुरी हालत में है। और ऑफ कोर्स एक ये इसको भी मणिपुर से जोड़ा जाएगा, क्योंकि टाइम एंड अगेन हमें ये स्टेटमेंट्स दिखने को मिली हैं कि जितनी बार ऑपोजिशन पार्टीज ने मणिपुर की बात की है उतनी बार राजस्थान, छत्तीसगढ़ और वेस्ट बंगाल का जिक्र आया है विमेन सेफ्टी को लेके।
देखिए, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि जाहिर तौर पर चाहे मणिपुर हो या राजस्थान हो, ऐसे इंसिडेंट कहीं पर भी होते हैं, तो आप ये उसको नहीं कर सकते हैं कि मणिपुर में ऐसा हुआ, राजस्थान को आप अलग करके देख लें। क्योंकि राजस्थान में जो लगातार ऐसी घटनाएं हो रही है, तो पिछले काफी वक्त से लगातार ऐसे मामले सामने आए हैं जिसमें इस तरीके से रेप या गैंगरेप हो रहे हैं, फिर हत्या की जा रही है। तो ये जो काफी हीनियस क्राइम है, जो भिलवाड़ा की घटना, अगर ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन में साफ होता है कि उसके साथ रेप या गैंगरेप किया गया, फिर उसके बाद में हत्या करके जलाई गई, तो अपने आप में ही बहुत बड़ी बात है। ये काफी दिल दहलाने वाली है, क्योंकि ऐसी घटना आप इसको मणिपुर से अलग करके नहीं देख सकते हैं, आइसोलेट करके नहीं देख सकते हैं कि ये कहीं एक जगह घटना हुई है। तो ये बड़ी बात है और जाहिर तौर पर सरकार पे सवाल भी खड़े होंगे, मुख्यमंत्री को भी जवाब देना होगा। और जब सवाल तो जाहिर तौर पर बीजेपी या कोई भी दल हो, ये दल से जुड़ा हुआ मसला भी नहीं है, मसला लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का बड़ा मसला हुआ है, महिलाओं की सुरक्षा से जुड़ा हुआ है।
जी भवानी, आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि हमारे साथ बने रहिए। We also have had Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat respond to this entire Rajasthan horror. He in fact has ended up slamming the Congress government in the state over this incident that has just been spoken about, this alleged rape and murder instance that has come to light from Rajasthan. My colleague Payal has spoken to the minister. Let's take a look.
भीलवाड़ा के एक कोयले की भट्टी में अवशेष मिले एक बच्चे के, जिस तरह से क्राइम की रेट बढ़ रही है राजस्थान में, मुख्यमंत्री कह रहे हैं कि
दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण। एक दिन भट्टी में एक बच्चे की लाश मिलती है, कंकाल में स्कूल में एक बच्ची की लाश मिलती है, एक बच्ची का गैंगरेप करके उसको गला दबा करके मारने का प्रयास होता है, न मरने पर गोली मार दी जाती है, गोली मारने के बाद में भी न मरने पर तेजाब डाल करके और कुएं में फेंक दिया जाता है। स्कूल में, विश्वविद्यालय में छात्राओं के साथ में रेप होता है और निरंतर इस तरह की घटना होने के बावजूद राजस्थान सरकार के मुखिया चैन की बंशी बजाते हुए उसी पर आराम से टांगे फैला करके बैठकर अपने आप अपने प्रदेश को सबसे सुरक्षित और सर्वश्रेष्ठ प्रदेश बनाने की इस तरह की जरूरत है। मुझे लगता है
आप लगातार कह रहे थे जी के नाम महिलाएं सुरक्षित है, वहाँ पर बच्चों के भी मामले आ रहे हैं, तो कौन सुरक्षित है?
देखिए, मैं महिला सुरक्षित हूँ, मैं राजस्थान में युवा सुरक्षित है, मैं राजस्थान में युवाओं का भविष्य सुरक्षित है, मैं राजस्थान में मंदिर सुरक्षित है, मैं राजस्थान में भगवान की मूर्तियाँ सुरक्षित है, मैं राजस्थान में जो है मैं राजस्थान में कानून व्यवस्था सुरक्षित है। राजस्थान में सुरक्षा के नाम पर केवल और केवल एक चीज सुरक्षित है, और जिसको जादूगरी के साथ में मुख्यमंत्री पिछले 4.5 साल तक द्वंद चलते हुए सुरक्षित कर पाए, तो इनको सुरक्षित कुर्सी जो है वो सुरक्षित है।
थैंक यू सो मच।
Let's now get you some more breaking news from the Parliament as before the start of the Lok Sabha session, opposition MPs, that includes a contingent of Supriya Sule, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and also Farooq Abdullah, all of the three met with the Lok Sabha Speaker Mr. Om Birla, asking him to return to the chair. Remember, Om Birla on Wednesday had stayed away from Lok Sabha proceedings, and he had done so because he was expressing his displeasure at the repeated disruptions during the monsoon session. In fact, there has also been a tussle between opposition and BJP over the Manipur issue, and that continues to stall the proceedings, because of which the Lok Sabha Speaker in fact stayed away from the lower house of the Parliament yesterday. Now there is a request that is asking him to join the session. This has been sent out by Supriya Sule, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Farooq Abdullah, among other opposition leaders. My colleague Payal has all these details. Payal, a request that's sent out to Om Birla. Is he going to relent?
Well, Om Birla made one thing very clear to all these leaders who went to meet him, in fact, just before the start of the session and even after that. And he said one thing very clearly, that the House is not in order. He will not come. Even yesterday, he did not grace the chair because he was very upset with the behavior of the MP. And he said the House is not in order. But both the government as well as the opposition benches have been able to convince him that yes, the House will be in order. In fact, Senior Minister in the government, Nitin Gadkari, was also part of the meeting of the leaders that went to meet him, and they've assured him that there will be order in the House. So it remains to be seen how it transpires, because at 2 o'clock when the House convenes again, if the House is in order, you'll expect the Speaker to come in, or otherwise you'll have to see how it goes. Because the Speaker has been most accommodating of all leaders. But just a couple of days ago, the opposition party leaders had walked out of the Business Advisory Committee meeting without listening to what the Speaker had to really say. So these are the things that he's been extremely upset about.
When we talk about these three members of the opposition parties, namely Mr. Abdullah, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary or Ms. Supriya Sule, is the entire opposition alliance, the India alliance, one with this idea where they have gone on to request the Speaker? Are they going to be allowing any discussion under 167 when it is about the Manipur issue, a short duration discussion, or they are going to be still hell-bent on the fact that this needs to be happening under 267?
There is a little bit of a climb down as far as the opposition is concerned, because you saw that Derek O'Brien speaking in the Rajya Sabha. He spoke about that issue extensively in the Rajya Sabha. But as far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, these are senior leaders in the Parliament who've gone ahead and tried to convince the Speaker. It'll be important to see what the outcome really is. But yes, the government has said, and Piyush Goyal, who's the leader of the House, has said that he will check with Amit Shah. Because remember, Amit Shah has his bills that are coming up in the Parliament today, which is of course the Delhi bill, which will be again brought in the Rajya Sabha tomorrow or something, on Monday or something. It depends on what the availability of the Home Minister is, because as far as Manipur issue is concerned, the discussion reply will be by the Home Minister and sent.
All right, Payal, I'll request you to stay on with us. We've got some more breaking news. We'll need your inputs on that story as well. Now, we've been given to understand that the National Commission for Women Chief, Ms. Rekha Sharma, will be in the Parliament. She is in all likelihood going to be meeting BJP National President Mr. JP Nadda and also the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. And she might be discussing the Manipur viral video. That is, in fact, the report that's now coming in. Payal continues to be with me. Payal, considering, all right, I think we have lost that link with Payal. We will try and re-establish the connection. Pardon the interference, because obviously the Parliament session is on and our colleagues are continuously bringing you reactions from various leaders and MLAs who have in fact been part of the monsoon session. Remember, the controversy that's been associated with the NCW is that there was a report that was given to the NCW a few days after the Manipur viral video instance really happened. That is on May 4th. And there is ample accusation and knowledge that there was no cognizance that was taken by the NCW. And that is why the NCW chief Rekha Sharma is in the dock. There is a lot of answering that she needs to do vis-a-vis that, as to no cognizance being taken by the National Commission for Women despite the video or the instance information being sent out to her. Now, we are given to understand that she is going to be meeting with BJP President JP Nadda, also the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. All of this after this entire video went viral after 77 days of when it occurred on May 4th. This is what is the report that's coming in, and she will be sharing that report with the top brass of the Bharatiya Janata Party. This is the Manipur viral video that we are talking about. May 4th is when the incident happened. The accusation against the NCW is that they were late in taking cognizance over the video, despite the fact that they were given ample knowledge of the incident after the 4th of May, after a few days when the incident really took place, and they failed to do anything about it. And after 77 days when the video went viral on social media, this is a day before the monsoon session, is when the role of the NCW also was being questioned over it, considering they were in the know of what really had happened on the 4th of May. My colleague Payal Mehta is back with us on the broadcast. Payal, NCW Chief Rekha Sharma, so Amit Shah, this after ample furor of the NCW staying silent over the Manipur incident. What are we learning?
Rekha Sharma, the NCW chief, has just been spotted in Parliament. She, in fact, is likely to meet the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, and also the BJP National President over the entire furor. Remember that video which had gone viral? And the inaction of the NCW is something which has enraged a lot of people, and the opposition has been asking questions on that. We are given to understand by way of sources from the NCW that the report, as far as this episode is concerned, has already been prepared, and Ms. Sharma is likely to discuss the same with the top leaders of the BJP.
All right, Payal, thank you so much for all of that information. So there you have it. We are given to understand that NCW Chief Rekha Sharma is in fact going to be giving a lowdown over the Manipur violence, the Manipur incident that also went viral only after 77 days. Let's in fact shift our focus now, and we are getting some more breaking news that's coming in from Rajasthan. Now we are given to understand that the Jodhpur police has reached the house of sacked Minister Rajendra Guda. In fact, the Jodhpur police has reached the rural police. They have both of them have come together, and they've come to investigate a POCSO Act case that was registered in the Peepur police station of Jodhpur rural area in the government housing complex area of Jaipur against Guda. So this is another case that Mr. Rajendra Guda would have to in fact fight. Let's take a look at what exactly is it all about. My colleague Bhavani continues to be with us on the broadcast. Bhavani, पहले तो ये पूरा मामला क्या है? ये कौन सा केस है पॉक्सो एक्ट के अंदर?
क्या ये जोधपुर के अंदर एक पीपार थाना क्षेत्र है जहां पर एक लड़के पे आरोप था लड़की को भगाकर लेने का। उसको अंबाला से पुलिस ने बरामद किया था। 2 जुलाई की घटना ये। तो वहाँ अब उसमें पुलिस का ये कहना है कि लड़की से उन्होंने पूछताछ की कि वो कहाँ रुकी थी। उसने एक लोकेशन ये बताई थी कि जयपुर में जो राजेंद्र गुड़ा है उनके सरकारी आवास पे वो एक रात यहाँ पर रुकी थी। यहाँ पर राजेंद्र गुड़ा के आउट हाउस है, जो सरकारी बंगला है उसके अंदर आउट हाउस है, वहां पर कहा जा रहा है कि वहां उसके अंदर रुकी थी। तो ये जो आरोप लग रहा है, शरण देने का आरोप लगाया जा रहा है। लेकिन अब इन पूरे मामले को, क्योंकि 2 जुलाई की घटना है और अब पुलिस आई है, तो आप कहीं न कहीं राजेंद्र गुड़ा ने कल प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की थी। कल ही उन्होंने जो लाल डायरी के पन्ने हैं वो खोले थे, उसमें एलिगेशन चीफ मिनिस्टर अशोक गहलोत पर लगाए थे। जो क्रिकेट के अंदर उनके बेटे वैभव गहलोत है, उसमें ये एलिगेशन लगाए थे कि उसने चुनाव में धांधली हुई थी, पैसा लेन देन हुआ, वो डायरी लेकर आए। कल उनकी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई, कल खुलासा हुआ और आज जोधपुर पुलिस पहुंच गई। तो जाहिर तौर पर इससे भी देखा जा रहा है कि क्या राजेंद्र गुड़ा पे दबाव बनाने की कोशिश की जा रही है सरकार की ओर से और राजेंद्र गुड़ा की घेराबंदी की जा रही है, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से राजेंद्र गुड़ा अटैक कर रहे हैं सरकार पर, सीधा मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत पर। हालांकि पुलिस का ये कहना है कि ये एक रूटीन टाइप की इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, जिसमें क्योंकि उसने लोकेशन बताई इसलिए देखा जा रहा है। यहाँ से राजेंद्र गुड़ा से हमने बात करने की कोशिश की, वो कह रहे हैं कि सीधा उनसे डायरेक्ट संबंध नहीं। 6 महीने पहले वो बंगला यहाँ से अपने परिवार को ले जा चुके हैं, केवल स्टाफ के लोग हैं वो यहाँ पर रह रहे हैं जी।
All right, Bhavani, thank you so much for joining us with all the latest details. So we also are given to understand that Rajendra Guda is currently not at that bungalow where the police has arrived to go ahead with further investigation on this particular case. With that, we are slipping into a very short break. We're coming right back with lots more that's in store for you on CNN News 18.
There was a foodie from
said just moments ago. He says that this is a well-planned conspiracy and that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. I want to know your first reaction to what the Haryana government is saying.
This is what I said yesterday also. If it is a well-planned conspiracy, then why government was sleeping? Why didn't it take preventive steps? They're just putting 4 home guard there. Actually, whenever procession like that goes, it is duty of the government to provide security.
Okay.
And see that there is no law and situation खराब होती है, नहीं होनी चाहिए.
But Mr. Huda,
government is failed government, non-performing government. But government has to perform.
But Mr. Huda, ये बताइए कि if there is a mob of 600, 700 people with weapons, with lathis, stones, pistols, who are attacking this yatra, and 100 people have been arrested since Monday, how do you say that the government has not been proactive enough? How do you say that the government has failed? Because they are saying that over 40 FIRs have been registered, over 100 people have been detained, have been arrested.
It is all peaceful area. The feeling of all brotherhood over there. This first time happening because of this laxity of the government. Government should have anticipated this thing. It should have prevented. It could have been avoided. It is not that.
But Mr. Huda, you don't see this as a concerted attack on Hindu processions. The procession that got attacked by the Bajrang Dal, it had police permission. It has been going on there for the last 3 years, is what I'm given to understand. This is the 4th year. Yes, there were some provocative slogans that were raised, but the response to provocative slogans can't be stone pelting from rooftops, using guns, using heavy duty weapons, ramming a bus into a cyber police station. Those are the act of criminals. How do you respond to that?
That is later on. Police, that has to be, everything has to be provided, security has to be provided. I say, during my time, there were so many yatras going on, even political processions, they go, that security is the duty of the state government to provide security.
No, but normalcy is slowly being restored, not just in Haryana, but I believe tensions are persisting in other states as well, one of which happens to be Rajasthan, which is run by the Congress. The violence has spilled over into Rajasthan. What do you have to say about that? Because this can't be seen purely from a political prism, a BJP or a Congress prism, because even in Rajasthan, there is the spillover of this violence.
Whether it is Rajasthan, whether it is Haryana or anywhere, the brotherhood should be maintained. See, this is not good for the country, and especially Haryana. You see, many MNC, they are saying they have declared holiday. It is going to harm state as a whole. So, prime duty of the government, state government, is to restore law and order and brotherhood.
Okay, Bhupinder Singh Hooda, former Chief Minister of Haryana and current leader of the opposition in the assembly there. Thank you very much for speaking with us. The man in the hot seat is the Home Minister of Haryana. Anil Vij is now joining us. Vij साहब बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. अभी हम FIR की कॉपी भी हमारे दर्शकों के साथ शेयर कर रहे थे. इसमें तो साफ तौर पे लिखा है कि ये ऑर्गेनाइज कंस्पिरेसी थी. नू में जो ये हिंसा जो शुरू हुआ, अब लगता है कि हरियाणा के जो बाकी जगह है वहां पे भी ये हिंसा फैल रही है. 6 लोग मर गए हैं. आप कह रहे हैं कि 100 से ऊपर लोगों को आपने गिरफ्तार कर दी, राउंड अप कर दी, 40 से ज्यादा FIRs भी दर्ज किया। लेकिन ये बताइए 3 दिन से और अलग अलग जगहों पे हिंसा फैल रही है, क्या ये पुलिस और प्रशासन की तरफ से विफलता नहीं है? हम क्यों ये माने कि आप लोगों ने ठीक किया या आप लोगों ने सही काम किया? ये तो पूरी तरह से आप फेल हो गए।
देखिए, ये प्राइमरी काम नहीं है। प्राइमरी काम है सारे प्रदेश में शांति को बहाल करना, लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करना, और वो हम कर रहे हैं। हमने 30 कंपनियां मेवात में डाली हैं, नू में डाली हैं हरियाणा की। 20 कंपनियां जो हमें केंद्र से मिली हमने वो वहां पर डाली हैं। नू में
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Griha. Now, there has been a development in the Gyanvapi case, and this can spell victory for the Hindu side, at least as step 1. As the Muslim side plea has now been rejected by the Allahabad High Court, and the ASI scientific survey has been allowed. Remember, the High Court had stated that the survey is necessary in the interest of justice. In fact, the NCW Masjid committee, which is the caretaker of the historic mosque in Varanasi, had filed a petition before the High Court saying that the ASI survey will be damaging the religious structure of the place. The survey can now, however, start at any time after the High Court verdict, which in fact rejected the Muslim side petition. The legal team of the NCW Masjid committee has now confirmed to CNN News 18 that they will decide their next step, their next move, after the detailed order copy comes out. Also remember that the Hindu side has claimed that the mosque was built on the site of a temple by Aurangzeb in 1669 when he grazed the temple to build this mosque on it. And all of those details are going to be ascertained through the process of this ASI survey. If at all the historical significance of the Gyanvapi Mosque complex is established, then the Places of Worship Act will not stand to implement as far as this particular complex is concerned.
चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने ये कहा है कि ASI ने एफिडेविट फाइल किया है और उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में जो लिखित एफिडेविट दिया गया था जी, उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में सर्वे किया जाए। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि जब ASI ने एफिडेविट दिया है तो कोई मतलब नहीं है उसको डाउट करने का, और जो ASI ने एफिडेविट दिया उसके कंप्लायंस में ये पूरा सर्वे किया जाए। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट का फैसला तत्काल प्रभाव से प्रभावी हो चुका है, ये भी आदेश में हुआ, और सिविल सूट जल्दी से जल्दी डिसाइड किया जाए, इसमें कोई एडजर्नमेंट ना हो, ये भी कोर्ट ने आदेश दिया। हाई कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि जितने हमने केस लॉज दिखाए थे, लीगल पोजीशन यही है कि ASI सर्वे किसी भी स्टेज पे हो सकता है।
ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद केस के सिलसिले में वाराणसी कोर्ट ने 21 जुलाई को ASI सर्वे का ऑर्डर दिया था और उसके खिलाफ मुस्लिम साइड ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एक petition 24 जुलाई को फाइल किया और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 26 जुलाई तक सर्वे पर रोक लगाई और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट से रुजू करने का ऑर्डर दिया और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में के सामने बात रखी गई और आज इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने सर्वे की इजाज़त दे दी है। यानी यकीनी तौर पर मुस्लिम साइड के पास अभी ये एक ऑप्शन मौजूद है कि इस ऑर्डर को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने चैलेंज किया जाए जिससे कि कोई राहत मिल सके।
इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ज्ञानवापी प्रकरण में आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे की कार्रवाई को अलाउ कर दिया है। जो मुस्लिम पक्ष जाके हाई कोर्ट में सुप्रीम कोर्ट में चुनौती दी और उसके आलोक में हाई कोर्ट उन्हें कहा गया था कि आप आइए और वहाँ पे पूरा विचारण हुआ और आर्कियोलॉजी सर्वे ने अपना हलफनामा देके अपने सारे तथ्यों को रखा कि किसी प्रकार से ढांचे को नुकसान नहीं होगा और साथ में यह भी हिदायत है उसमें कि जो वजूखाना है जिसमें शिवलिंग प्रकट हुए हैं उसको किसी प्रकार से नुकसान या छेड़छाड़ नहीं की जाएगी, उसमें कोई हस्तक्षेप नहीं होगा। और ये पूरी तरह से पूरे परिसर का जो बैरिकेटेड एरिया है, रकबा नंबर 9130 जिसमें कथित ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद अवस्थित है, उसके सर्वे कराने की बात आ गई है।
मस्जिद कमेटी और हिंदू पक्ष दोनों का ही फायदा है कि ASI सर्वे हो, तो इससे निचली अदालत को फैसला देने में आसानी होगी, ट्रायल में आसानी होगी। हालांकि कोर्ट ने यह भी कहा है कि आज के फैसले से केस की मेरिट प्रभावित नहीं होगी, ये केवल और केवल एक प्रोसेस है। मतलब हिंदू आज जीत गया, मैं ये भी कहता हूँ, क्योंकि यहाँ पे बनारस में आपका आदि विशेश्वर का पूरा स्ट्रक्चर है, मंदिर का पूरा अवशेष है, ये एडवोकेट कमीशन रिपोर्ट में आ चुका है। तो हमें लगता है कि हम लड़ाई यहाँ से जीत चुके हैं।
उच्च न्यायालय के आदेश का हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ASI की सर्वे के माध्यम से सच्चाई बाहर आएगी और ज्ञानव्यापी का जो विवाद है श्री राम जन्मभूमि विवाद की तरह इसका भी निर्णय होगा, निस्तारण होगा और शिव भक्तों की जो मनोभावना है, मनोकामना है, वो पूर्ण होगी।
Taking this across to my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar, our legal correspondent, to offer more perspective on the story that we have been tracking since the word go. Ananya, now this is definitely a setback for the Muslim petitioners, considering the Supreme Court had in fact asked them to appeal before the High Court because they felt that ample time was not granted to the Muslim side to go ahead and appeal against the verdict that was coming in from the lower court in Varanasi. Now all of that has been put on a level playing field, the survey has been allowed. So whatever was the plea that was put forth in the High Court by the Muslim side doesn't stand.
Well, definitely all the arguments that were addressed by the Hindu side have been accepted and the Muslim side's argument has been turned down by the Allahabad High Court's bench headed by the Chief Justice Mr. Prithakar Dwivedi. And what has been very, very clearly, Prithakar Divakar, and what has been very, very categorically stated is that the Archaeological Survey of India's exercise will be carried out at the Gyanvapi site, though since the detailed order copy is not available at this point of time, and what we have been told is that it runs into almost 200 to 300 pages, and that's the reason why in fact it would take a little time to actually upload that particular judgment copy, and it might be uploaded post lunch session itself only. The Muslim side has clearly told us that, you know, they will be approaching the Supreme Court and would be deciding upon their next legal move only after seeing the judgment that's been given out by the Allahabad High Court in this particular regard. But very, very clearly it's a big win for the Hindu side coming in. Remember that the Archaeological Survey of India will carry out its survey in basically two parts. One is the GPR survey that they will be carrying out, that's ground penetrating radar. GPRs are basically a machine consisting of two parts. One is a transmitter and one is a receiver. The transmitter sends in a wave beneath the ground in order to check if something is beneath the ground, and then only the Archaeological Survey of India can actually map that particular area and see as to what is beneath the ground and what is the archaeological age of it is determined with the second process that is called the dating. Two types of dating is done, absolute dating or relative dating. Absolute dating is basically to check the archaeological age of a particular artifact that is found during an excavation or during a survey that is carried out by the Archaeological Survey of India or anybody. And in fact the relative dating would actually show as to which period does this particular artifact or particular thing belongs to in comparison to the other. So if at all it has to be judged as to whether this was a temple that was raised and then a mosque was built over it. So two parts would be compared in, and it would be seen as to whether these coexist or one has been made before it or after it. So it will determine a lot of things and will answer all the questions in this particular suit, though the Muslim side has been constantly saying that the section 75 of the Code of Civil Procedure, that is the CPC, clearly is violative, and which basically states that a scientific survey can be ordered only if the court is not happy with the oral evidence that is available on record. But the same has been countered by the Hindu side, constantly saying that a survey can be granted at any stage in the investigation, because the Muslim side has been constantly saying that this application by the Hindu side for a Archaeological Survey of India survey is something that is a very, very premature demand and should not be allowed. But the Allahabad High Court had held in contrary, clearly saying that this is something that is required in the interest of justice, and the Archaeological Survey of India survey has been allowed. Now, what is the timeline of it would be clear only after the final judgment comes in. And remember that the 30-member team of the Archaeological Survey of India had sent its representative to the Allahabad High Court, which explained to the Allahabad High Court as to how will it carry this particular survey. In fact, an undertaking was also given out by the ASI that no kind of a damage would be done to the structure there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Ananya. In fact, we have ground reports that our colleagues have filed for us, and also reactions that continue to pour in on this story. Let's take a look.
इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने ज्ञानवापी परिसर में ASI सर्वे की इजाजत दे दी है। यहां पर मुस्लिम पक्ष की तरफ से जो इंतजामिया की जो याचिका थी उसको खारिज किया गया है, यानी कि तत्काल प्रभाव से जो 21 जुलाई को वाराणसी जिला कोर्ट का फैसला था वो कोर्ट का फैसला मान्य होगा। ASI की टीम, आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया की टीम कभी भी ज्ञानवापी परिसर में पहुंच सकती है, जैसा कि हिंदू पक्ष की तरफ से कहा गया। दरअसल यहाँ पर जो दलीलें थी वो दी गई थी दोनों पक्षों की तरफ से, लेकिन कोर्ट ने कहा है कि सर्वे करवाने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। मुस्लिम पक्ष का ये कहना था कि जो सर्वे होगा, अगर खुदाई होगी तो जो मूल ढांचा है, जो ज्ञानवापी परिसर इस वक्त आप देख पा रहे हैं, ये मूल ढांचे को क्षति पहुंचेगी। लेकिन ASI ने जो एफिडेविट दिया था उसमें कहा था कि मूल ढांचे को क्षति नहीं पहुंचेगी, क्योंकि ये सर्वे साइंटिफिक तरीके से होगा। इस वक्त की सबसे बड़ी खबर मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, जिस पर पूरे देश की नजरें टिकी हुई थी। ASI सर्वे को मंजूरी ज्ञानवापी परिसर में इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट ने दे दी है। ये सबसे बड़ा फैसला इलाहाबाद हाईकोर्ट की तरफ से दिया गया है।
हम महाराष्ट्र से आए हैं और ASI का जो सर्वे होगा वो पूरी तरह से ज्ञानवापी मंदिर हिंदू पक्ष के तरफ से उसका निकाल लगेगा, क्योंकि त्रिशूल हिंदू के मंदिर में रहता, जो मस्जिद का आकार दिख रहा है वो पूरा मंदिर की तरह है, जो भी अवशेष दिखे हैं वो पूरे मंदिर के हैं करके, जो जिस तरह से अयोध्या राम प्रभु का मंदिर हिंदू के लिए मुक्त हुआ, वैसा ही
हर हर महादेव, हर हर महादेव, हर हर महादेव। इस फैसले को हम अच्छी नजर से देख रहे हैं और ये हम लोग के हक की बात है। आज काशी विश्वनाथ की दर्शन के बाद ये अच्छी सूचना हम लोग को मिली, अच्छी खबर मिली, जिससे हम लोग बहुत प्रसन्न हैं।
फैसला स्वागत योग्य है और जल्द ही हम लोग के पक्ष में फैसला आएगा और मंदिर भव्य मंदिर बनेगा।
देखिए, सदियों से जो बात काशीवासी कह रहे थे और अभी हमारे श्रद्धेय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने भी उस बात को कही है, मैं माननीय न्यायालय के फैसले का स्वागत करता हूं। जन भावनाओं का जिस तरह से आदर करते हुए सर्वे पर मुहर लगाने का काम माननीय न्यायालय ने किया है, मैं समझता हूं कि अब ये संवेदनशील मुद्दा है। सर्वे के बाद पूरे तरीके से दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। जिसके मन में कोई खराबी है या सच्चाई को लोग पहले से जानते हैं, वो लोग सर्वे से भाग रहे हैं।
सनातन धर्मियों के लिए बहुत ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण है, क्योंकि हम लोगों का जो विश्वास है, हम लोगों का जो देवी देवता है, हमारे धार्मिक स्थल हैं, उन पर कुठाराघात करके मुगल कालीन सरकार ने जो काम किया था वो मुगल काल में हटा करके उनके जो हमारे मंदिरों को ध्वस्त करके उन पर जो चिन्ह बना करके इन्होंने खड़े कर दिए थे। अब वो समय आया है स्वतंत्र भारत में कि हम गुलामी के प्रतीकों को हटा करके सत्य को उजागर करें, प्रकट करें। मस्जिद तो हो ही नहीं सकती, वो जो मंदिर है उस पर अब कम से कम ये जो मुस्लिम वर्ग है उसको आना चाहिए आगे और कहना चाहिए कि हम सब आपके साथ हैं।
We're now getting some breaking news. We have been told that Piyush Goyal and Prahlad Joshi have went on to meet Mallikarjun Kharge, the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, at his room as his chamber, where all the opposition leaders are present. This meet is eventually to break the deadlock. The opposition, however, is firm on the demand that the Prime Minister needs to speak on the Manipur crisis. We also given to understand, and this is the next piece of breaking news that we are bringing for our viewers, that after the deadlock due to a split in the NCP, the issue of the leader of opposition has been resolved. In fact, Vijay Waditwar has been appointed as the leader of opposition in the Maharashtra Assembly, and there was opposition to his name from within the party itself. However, that seems to have been skirted as far as a roadblock. Let me actually bring in my colleague Vinaya, who's joining us for more details on this story. Vinaya, finally a leader of opposition that's been decided, however, not without any opposition.
Well, absolutely. In fact, it's been an extremely interesting development. This is something that has been in the offing for quite some time now. We all had been waiting for the Congress to take the lead because remember, after that split within the NCP, it is the Congress which is the single largest opposition party in Maharashtra now, and that is why it was anticipated that the Congress would take claim to the leader of opposition position at the earliest. Now, tomorrow is the last day of the Maharashtra Assembly, and just a day before that, we are seeing that finally the leader of opposition has been announced. Yesterday, several senior Congress leaders had gone and met the Speaker of the Assembly, requesting him to announce the name of Vazukhana Tiwari, but that was not done, without the drama that unfolded from within the Congress. Congress had been mum about it for several days. In the last few days, we had seen Nana Patole make rounds of Delhi, speak with Rahul Gandhi as well over the issue, but we've learned that there was some opposition from within the party itself, from the second-rung leadership, which had pitched itself against Vazukhana Tiwari's name. Several names were in fact doing rounds in the last few days. Speculations were made, maybe about Sangram Thopte, maybe about a few other leaders who were saying that they were also in the race for the leader of opposition. Finally, a face from Vidarbha, Vazukhana Tiwari, who has been a minister in the Maharashtra government in the past as well, and a senior Congress leader, has now been named as the leader of opposition after much drama from within the Congress and after a lot of controversy in Maharashtra over the issue.
Right, Vinaya, thank you so much for all of those details. With that, it's a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for joining me on CNN News 18. My colleague Ridhima is going to be joining you on the other side.
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, getting you all the top stories over the next 60 minutes. Let's begin with our top focus. It's been 4 days since the first episode of violence in Nuh was reported, and unrest unfortunately still continues in and around areas of Nuh and some other parts of Haryana as well. There is a clear assurance that is coming from the Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, who's warned of strict action against the perpetrators, and he's also gone on to say that the government won't spare the guilty and is assured compensation to the victims and their families as well. As part of the investigation, a 3-member SIT has also now been formed to oversee this entire investigation in communal violence. Till now, over 130 people have been arrested so far. Section 144 still continues to be in place. A ban on internet services will also be reviewed today. The centre will also be cracking down on social media handles inciting mob through Nuh violence. It has been now found that everything started on social media. Therefore, handles have now been narrowed down and will be blocked extremely soon. CNN News 18 has also accessed the FIR which has been registered in the case, which has gone on to state that it was a well-planned conspiracy where anywhere between 600 to 700 vandals pelted stones at the police at Adbar Chowk in Nuh during this yatra. Our colleagues have been on the ground sending us these ground reports. Let's take a look.
It has been 3 days since violence broke out in Nuh, and since then tensions have been simmering across districts in Haryana, especially in Gurugram. At this point in time, I am reporting from Bashapur area of Gurugram, where there were a few reports had come up that a few shops were set on fire. Fearing the hate, fearing the anger, many people have vacated their houses, as you can see in these visuals right here, that people who were living in these houses, these people were basically from the Muslim communities, and we saw that the manner in which Muslims were targeted out here, especially in Gurugram, and hence all these people have locked their houses and have gone away from here. What the other locals who have been residing in this area have told us is that there were no tensions that developed over here on the ground, but yes, these people had shops in the main market, and hence they feared that the situation could go out of hand and they could also be targeted, and hence all these people have vacated their houses and in fact have put these locks right in front of their houses. It has been 3 days. The police has constantly been saying that the situation is back to normal, but yes, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of fear that can still be sensed in the atmosphere out here in Badshahpur. The police is saying that yes, they are taking preventive measures. Advocate booths are deployed on the ground just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Over the last 12 to 14 hours, there has been no new instances that have been reported of any sort of violence.
Other than those who have lost their lives and those who were injured in the riots in Nuh, the worst hit people are the daily wage laborers. You can see as hundreds of them are fleeing Nuh right now because they've been claiming that for the past 3 days since curfew has been imposed, they have no work, there have been no earnings for them, and they have also been threatened by locals to leave the area following the communal tension. Many of them belong to Jhansi and Rajasthan, and they are leaving Nuh for Palwal, from where they can probably get some basis of commuting to Rajasthan so that they can live a normal life. They have uncertainty looming over their future, and that is the reason why they are leaving this place, this district, to go to another state in search of work. Their contractors have been missing, they have not been taking calls, the internet in the district is shut, and therefore they are leaving this place in search for work. Now, as uncertainty looms over their coming days and over their future and the future of the kids that they have with them, more than 500 or 600 of them who lived in Nuh have already left the district, while others are preparing to leave. हिंसा के आरोपी हैं जो यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। आप देखिए अब तक 137 लोगों की गिरफ्तारी हो चुकी है। अभी यहाँ पर 19 आरोपी यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं। ये तस्वीर आप देखिए, यहाँ नूह की तस्वीर यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं आप। ये दरअसल 137 FIR हुई है। क्या कहना चाहेंगे, कुछ कहेंगे आप? क्यों आपने हिंसा की?
हिंसा ना की, हम 4 बजे सुबह बिस्तर में उठा कर आए थे। 4 बजे सुबह सोता उठा कर लाया, 4 बजे सुबह।
हिंसा में शामिल थे आप?
हम रात को गिरफ्तार किए गए हैं जी, और सोते सोते उठाए गए हैं जी। हम कोई आरोपी नहीं, जो आरोपी है गांव का सरपंच ने पकड़े हुए आरोपी।
देखिए ये जो आरोपी है वो यहाँ पर मौजूद है। आप बताइए, आप हिंसा में शामिल थे, क्यों आपने ऐसा किया? आपको उठा रहे?
31 तारीख को हमारी दुकान ही बंद थी, अपने घर पे थे हम।
ये कह रहे हैं कि हमारी दुकान बंद थी। आप बताइए क्या कहना चाहेंगे? देखिए यहाँ पर 19 आरोपी करीब यहाँ पर बैठे हुए हैं। तस्वीर आप देख सकते हैं। ये अलग अलग जो आरोपी हैं उनको पकड़ा गया है।
Let's also now shift our focus to the other big story that we are tracking. There has been a big development and a clear win as far as the Hindu side is concerned in the ongoing Gyanvapi case, because today the Muslim side's plea has been rejected and the ASI scientific survey in fact has been allowed. The High Court has gone on to state that the survey is in fact necessary in the interest of justice. The Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee, which is the caretaker of the historic mosque in Varanasi, had filed a petition before the High Court saying the ASI survey will damage the religious structure. The survey can now start at any time. The legal team of the Anjuman Intizamiya Masjid Committee has also now confirmed to us here at CNN News 18 that they'll decide their next move after the detailed order comes out. Remember, the Hindu side claims that the mosque was built on site of a temple.
चीफ जस्टिस साहब ने कहा है कि एएसआई ने एफिडेविट फाइल किया है और उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में
जो लिखित एफिडेविट दिया गया था
जी, उस एफिडेविट के कंप्लायंस में सर्वे किया जाए। साथ ही साथ उन्होंने कहा कि जब एएसआई ने एफिडेविट दिया है तो कोई मतलब नहीं है उसको डाउट करने का, और जो एएसआई ने एफिडेविट दिया उसके कंप्लायंस में ये पूरा सर्वे किया जाए। डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट का फैसला तत्काल प्रभाव से प्रभावी हो चुका है, ये भी आदेश में हुआ, और सिविल सूट जल्दी से जल्दी डिसाइड किया जाए, इसमें कोई एडजमेंट ना हो, ये भी कोर्ट ने आदेश पारित। हाई कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि जितने हमने केस लॉज दिखाए थे, लीगल पोजीशन यही है कि एएसआई सर्वे किसी भी स्टेज पे हो सकता है।
ज्ञानवापी मस्जिद केस के सिलसिले में वाराणसी कोर्ट ने 21 जुलाई को ASI सर्वे का ऑर्डर दिया था, और उसके ख़िलाफ़ मुस्लिम साइड ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एक petition 24 जुलाई को फाइल किया, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 26 जुलाई तक सर्वे पर रोक लगाई और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट से रुजू करने का ऑर्डर दिया, और इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में के सामने बात रखी गई, और आज इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट ने सर्वे की इजाज़त दे दी है, यानी यकीनी तौर पर मुस्लिम साइड के पास अभी ये एक ऑप्शन मौजूद है कि इस ऑर्डर को सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने चैलेंज किया जाए, जिससे कि कोई राहत मिल सके।
We're now getting more details as far as the ASI affidavit is concerned, and this is what it goes on to say. No damage will be caused to the structure while carrying out the survey. Remember, this was one of the concerns that had been raised as far as the Muslim side is concerned. What we're also understanding is the GPR and photo documentation in fact would be carried out. The survey also says, the ASI affidavit, I beg your pardon, also says instead of damage, reservation of the artifacts in fact would be done. The affidavit further says not even a single brick or stone would be taken out. As I pointed out, these were the concerns that had been raised by the Muslim side, that there will be damage to the structure, there will be damage as far as the Wazukhana is concerned. Now this affidavit in fact is clarifying that there will be no damage as far as the existing structure is concerned, and there will be not even one single brick that in fact will be taken out. Let's also now bring in our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar, who's in fact getting us these details. Now Ananya, details of this affidavit becomes very crucial because these were the exact pain points that had been raised by the Muslim side, where they had voiced their concerns saying that if this survey does happen, then the structure will be damaged, the Wazukhana will be impacted. The affidavit goes on to say that in fact it's the opposite, because not a single brick will be taken out from what its current position is.
Well, definitely the Archaeological Survey of India in its affidavit before the Allahabad High Court, and not only Allahabad High Court, but in fact the Solicitor General of India too had made the similar statement before the Supreme Court as well, that no kind of a damage to any of the structure would be carried out. And in fact a very important point that comes out from this affidavit is, and what has been stated by the Archaeological Survey of India, first, that Archaeological Survey of India is the competent body to carry out such surveys. They are professionals, and not only professionals but have been granted this right under the Constitution of India as well to carry out such surveys. They are the competent body for it. And the second big thing that they say in this affidavit is that the fear of damage should not have been there, because the Archaeological Survey of India does not damage in fact the artifacts, but in fact preserves those artifacts. It won't damage that artifact. In fact, if at all there is some artifact that is exposed, it will actually preserve that particular artifact. What they further go on to say is that no kind of a damage to the bricks or not even a single stone, the smallest of the smallest stone, would be done if at all there is a survey that is carried out. Now the techniques also have been discussed by the ASI. They say that they will be carrying out GPR, that is the ground penetrating radar surveys that I have already pointed out to you what they are. Apart from that, GPS surveys would also be used, that is ground positioning system that is used in our daily life, like in the Google Maps, would be used in order to check that particular area. Not only that, but also that various other modern techniques of dating would be used in order to check the archaeological age and to check the character of those artifacts that would be there at the Gyanvapi site. And the Wazukhana will not be touched, is what has been very, very clearly and categorically stated. And the Archaeological Survey of India has given this undertaking to the Allahabad High Court. Now, there seems no point actually at this point of time to actually challenge this particular order, because the main concern, and if you remember that the Allahabad High Court Chief Justice who was hearing this particular matter had questioned the Muslim side also, do they fear something like Babri would actually happen? And very categorically the Muslim side had affirmed to it, saying that they fear that something like the Babri incident could actually happen. But all these claims, all these fears of the Muslim side are dumbed down by this affidavit that has been filed by the Archaeological Survey of India, and there seems a little no kind of opposition to this particular survey that would be carried out by the Archaeological Survey of India. However, the Muslim side lawyers have confirmed to CNN News 18 that they will be deciding on their strategy only after the final order of the Gyanvapi case comes out. What we have also been told is that the order runs into almost 200 to 300 pages, and that's the reason why it will take a little time to actually upload it and to make it available to the councils in this particular case. So we'll have to wait for the detailed order copy to come in as to what the reasonings are when the court has allowed this survey and said that it is in the interest of justice that such a survey is actually carried out. So we'll have to wait for that. But at the same point of time, all the fears of the Muslim side has now come down. But whether or not they'll approach the Supreme Court, whether the survey would be able to carry out or not, all these questions answered in a short while from now when in fact the order copy comes out.
Okay, Ananya, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Keep a close eye on all those developments for us. We also now want to bring in our guests. We have Subhash Nandan, who's a lawyer from the Hindu side. We also have a petitioner, Manju Vyas, also now joining us. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए। मंजू जी, मैं पहले आपके पास आना चाहूंगी। आप कैसे देखती हैं आज जो वर्डिक्ट आया है हाईकोर्ट से?
बहुत खुशी की बात है कि आज सर्वे की डेट आ गई है। जो चीज हम लोग चाह रहे थे, सर्वे हो जाना चाहिए। सर्वे से क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं मुस्लिम पक्ष? क्योंकि खुल करके सबूत सामने, सबके सामने आ जाएंगे जो वो सच को छुपाना चाह रहे थे। त्रिशूल मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, स्वास्तिक मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, हमारे कमल के जो हमारे मंदिर का चिन्ह है वो उस मस्जिद में क्या कर रहे हैं? इसी मस्जिद में क्या हमारे वास्तव के मंदिर के चिन्ह है वहां उनके पास? वो हमें बताए ना। क्यों नहीं वो हम लोग को जवाब देते हैं इस बात का? और क्यों डर के मारे सर्वे होने के कारण वो भाग रहे हैं? हमारा शख्स, हमारा काशी विश्वनाथ का वो जो 12 ज्योतिर्लिंग में एक मेन ज्योतिर्लिंग वही है जिसमें कहता है सत्य शिव है और शिव ही सत्य है। तो वो सत्य से क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा हम लोगों को। तो सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी समझ में आ जाएगा लोगों को।
जी मंजू जी, आज हाईकोर्ट ने भी यही कहा है कि सर्वे होना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि अगर हम जस्टिस चाहते हैं तो सर्वे ही एक तरीका है जिससे सच पता चल पाएगा। जो कुछ कंसर्न्स थी मुस्लिम साइड की, उनका ये कहना था कि जो पूरा स्ट्रक्चर है अगर सर्वे होगा तो उसको डैमेज पहुंचा सकता है। उनका ये भी कहना था कि वजूखाने का जो जगह है उसको भी डैमेज पहुंचा सकता है। आज हाईकोर्ट और एसआई का जो एफिडेविट है वो ये कह रहा है कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा। आप कैसे देखते हैं मुस्लिम साइड की जो ये कंसर्न्स हैं?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा, बिना छेड़छाड़ के ही सर्वे हो जाएगा। सर्वे को होने तो दीजिए, क्यों भाग रहे हैं पीछे? उनको लग रहा है कि हमारी सच्चाई सामने आ जाएगी। और रही बात है, अब हम लोग जैसे हम लोग आधे हमारे भगवान वहां पे शिवलिंग निकला है, उस पे हम लोग जो सील पैक किया गया है, हम तो कहते हैं अब देश भर में यही कहना चाहते हैं कि अब नमाज पे भी रोक लगा देनी चाहिए कि वहां नमाज नहीं पढ़ने देंगे हम।
मंजू जी,
सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, सच्चाई सामने आ जाएगी, दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। क्यों पीछे भाग रहे हैं, क्यों डर रहे हैं, किस बात का उनको भय है? भले ये बताए ना हमें, किस बात का भय है उनको?
जी मंजू जी, हमारे साथ बने रहिए। आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इन जी हमारे साथ बने रहिए मंजू जी। मैं सुभाष जी को भी कॉन्वर्सेशन में लाना चाहती हूँ। सुभाष जी, आप कैसे देखते हैं जिस तरह का वर्डिक्ट आज आया है? आप लोग का तो काफी टाइम से ये कहना था कि सर्वे जल्द से जल्द शुरुआत होनी चाहिए, आज उसको एक ग्रीन लाइट मिल गई है, बट जो मुस्लिम साइड है और जो मुस्लिम पक्ष है वो अभी भी कह रहा है कि हम टॉप कोर्ट के पास वापस जाएंगे। आप कैसे देखते हैं इसको?
देखिए, सबसे पहली बात तो ये एक स्वागत योग्य कदम जो है माननीय न्यायालय का है
जी।
इस फैसले का मैं स्वागत करता हूं। माननीय न्यायालय, उच्च न्यायालय ने जो फैसला दिया है बड़ा ही न्यायोचित और कानून की दृष्टि से बड़ा सकारात्मक है। ये जो फैसला आया हमारे पक्ष में, इसका हमें पूरा विश्वास था, क्योंकि किसी परिसर का नेचर जानने का अधिकार सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी कह चुका है कि आप किसी भी परिसर का नेचर जानने से किसी को रोक नहीं सकते हैं। उस परिसर का नेचर क्या है, उसका स्ट्रक्चर क्या है, उसकी एज क्या है, ये सारी चीजें केवल हमारे आपके कहने से नहीं, जब तक वैज्ञानिक विधि से प्रमाणित संस्था ASI द्वारा सर्वे करके अपनी तकनीकी माध्यम से प्रमाणित रिपोर्ट माननीय न्यायालय के पटल पर जब तक नहीं रखेगा, तब तक ये फैसला लेना न्यायालय को काफी जो है कहा जाए कि दिक्कत होती कि ये मंदिर का परिसर है या मस्जिद का परिसर है। इसलिए ये फैसला हमारे पक्ष में आया है और मैं इस फैसले को इतिहास के रूप में लेता हूं। ये फैसला एक ऐतिहासिक कदम है, ये इतिहास जो है इतिहास में दर्ज होगा आज का दिन। ये फैसला भारत की ही नहीं, उस मंदिर और मस्जिद करोड़ लोगों की आस्थाओं को की दशा को दिशा को तय करेगा। ये मंदिर और मस्जिद का जो परिसर है, जो विवाद का वजह कारण बना हुआ है, उस परिसर की दशा और दिशा तय कर देगा। क्योंकि जिस दिन उस परिसर की ASI द्वारा वैज्ञानिक विधि से तकनीकी माध्यम से उनकी अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी से जो प्रमाणित रिपोर्ट न्यायालय के समक्ष आएगा, न्यायालय जिस दिन, चूंकि हमें विश्वास है क्योंकि सारे परिसर की दीवारें, खंबे, खाने ये चीख के चिल्लाती हैं कि मैं मंदिर हूँ।
जी, जैसे आप कह रहे हैं सुभाष जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि वहां पर काफी सारे ऐसे पंचिन हैं जिनसे चीख के कहा जा सकता है कि यहाँ पर एक मंदिर हुआ करता था, पर जो मुस्लिम पक्ष है टाइम एंड अगेन उन्होंने एक चीज अपोज करी है, कहते हुए कि प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट अगर है तो उसकी मान्यता क्यों नहीं दी जा रही है? आपको क्या जी
देखिए मैं बता दूं, प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट किस पे लागू होगा, मंदिर पे लागू होगा या मस्जिद पे लागू होगा। लेकिन जिस परिसर का नेचर ही नहीं अभी डिफाइन है, वो उस परिसर का नेचर क्या डिफाइन है क्या? हम तो कह रहे हैं मंदिर है, हमारा सारा परिसर मंदिर का है। वो आपके केवल टोपी पहना देने से, गुंबद रख देने से वो परिसर मस्जिद हो जाएगा? आपके केवल नमाज पढ़ने से वो स्थल जो है मस्जिद हो जाएगा? नमाज आप सड़कों पे पढ़ते हैं, आप नमाज जो है नमाज आप एयरपोर्ट पे पढ़ते हैं, यहाँ तक कि ट्रेनों में पढ़ते हैं, अपने घरों में पढ़ते हैं, तो सारा परिसर क्या जो है मस्जिद हो जाएगा? नहीं, ये मंदिर हमारा देव स्थान है, हमारे आस्था का केंद्र है
जी।
आपका मस्जिद कोई जो है देव स्थान नहीं है, वो केवल महज नमाज पढ़ने का स्थान है। और आपका सारा परिसर जो वो परिसर हमारा जो आदि विश्वेश्वर ज्ञानवापी का परिसर है, आप अपनी आंखों से भी देख सकते हैं। सारे जो स्ट्रक्चर है, एक एक दीवारें जो है हमारे ब्रह्म कमल, एक एक ईंटों एक एक पत्थरों पर त्रिशूल के चिन्ह बने हैं, वहां स्वास्तिक बने हैं, हमारे तमाम इष्ट देव देवी देवताओं विग्रहों के चित्र बने हुए हैं, मूर्तियां बनी है। आखिर किसने रखा है? ये कहाँ से आए हैं? इस मस्जिद में ये सारी चीजें, सारे प्रतीके पाए जाते हैं। दुनिया का एक मस्जिद बताइए जहाँ त्रिशूल पाया जाता हो, स्वास्तिक के चिन्ह पाए जाते हो, देवी देवताओं के जो है मूर्तियां पाई जाते हो, विग्रह पाए जाते हो, दुनिया का एक मस्जिद हमें बताइए।
मैं समझ रही हूँ आप जो पॉइंट बना रहे हैं सुभाष जी, आप कह रहे हैं कि काफी प्रूफ है जो कहता है कि यहाँ पर पहले एक मंदिर हुआ करता था, इसलिए आपको लगता है कि सर्वे की बहुत जरूरत है। मंजू जी, मैं आपसे एक चीज सवाल पूछना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि आप कह रहे हैं कि सर्वे ही एक तरीके है जिससे सच या झूठ का पता चलेगा। जो वजूखाना है वो एक ऐसी जगह है जो बार बार कोट करी गई है कि यहाँ पर क्या शिवलिंग था या कुछ और था, पर ये जो एरिया है ये सर्वे का पार्ट नहीं होगा। फिर भी क्या आपको लगता है कि सर्वे के बाद जो भी बाहर आएगा उसको आप स्वीकार करेंगे?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल स्वीकार करेंगे। और सच कहाँ तक छुपा के रखोगे? सच तो सामने उभर के ही आ जाएगा और सर्वे से हम लोग बिल्कुल संतुष्ट हो जाएंगे। और सच आना चाहिए, सर्वे होना चाहिए, सर्वे की इसीलिए तो हम लोग मांग कर रहे थे ना। जैसे विपक्ष वो कह रहा है कि वो ये है, तो बता देना कि हमारा वो मंदिर है, हम लोग तो कह रहे हैं हमारा मंदिर है, तो सर्वे हो जाने दीजिए, पता चल जाएगा कि मंदिर है कि मस्जिद है।
जी सुभाष जी, यही चीज मैं आपसे भी पूछना चाहती हूँ, जो वजूखाने की जो एरिया है, जो जगह है, वो सर्वे का पार्ट नहीं होगा, तो जिस तरह का भी वर्डिक्ट आएगा इस सर्वे के बाद, क्या हिंदू साइड उसको स्वीकार करेगा?
देखिए, वजू का जो सील्ड एरिया है, चूंकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अगले आदेश तक के लिए उसको स्थगन आदेश रोक लगाया हुआ है, ये परिसर, ये तो हम तो चाहते ही हैं कि उस परिसर के सारे साक्ष्य निकल कर बाहर आ जाएं। भाग तो आप रहे हैं ना, आप सत्य को छुपाना चाहते हैं, आप चाहते हैं कि सत्य जो सामने निकल कर ना आए। हम तो चाहते हैं कि भाई एसआई का सर्वे हो और जो सच्चाई इस परिसर की सत्यता है वो बाहर निकल कर चला है। आप तो स्वयं भाग रहे हैं, क्योंकि सत्य यही है कि वो परिसर मंदिर का है। सारे देवी देवता, सारी दीवारें जो है वो बताती हैं कि मैं मंदिर हूँ। ये सत्य निकल कर आएगा सर्वे के बाद। भाग तो आप रहे हैं, सत्य को क्यों छिपाना चाहते हैं? जब माननीय जिला न्यायालय ने ये आदेश दे दिया कि एसआई सर्वे हो, तो आपको सहर्ष स्वीकार करना चाहिए था। उस परिसर का नेचर क्या है, कैरेक्टर क्या है, स्टेटस क्या है, ये निकल के आना चाहिए, आपको स्वागत करना चाहिए। लेकिन आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट गए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि हाई कोर्ट जाइए, आप हाई कोर्ट चले गए। हाई कोर्ट ने सारे बिंदुओं पर सुनवाई की है, हिंदू पक्ष को सुना, मुस्लिम पक्ष को सुना। आपकी आपत्ति थी कि ये एसआई के माध्यम से हिंदू पक्ष उस परिसर को ध्वस्त करना चाहता है, डैमेज करना चाहता है। माननीय न्यायालय ने एसआई एडिशनल डायरेक्टर आलोक त्रिपाठी जी को तलब किया।
जी, वो क्लैरिटी तो आप सही कह रहे हैं कि एएसआई एफिडेविट में भी है और वो हाई कोर्ट ने भी उन चीजों पे क्लैरिटी दी है कि डैमेज को, स्ट्रक्चर को कोई डैमेज नहीं होगा, वजूखाना को कोई डैमेज नहीं होगा, और एक ही तरीका है सच समझने का, वो है ये सर्वे। तो अब हिंदू साइड कह रही है कि जल्द से जल्द ही सर्वे हो जाना चाहिए। मंजू जी, मैं एक चीज और पूछना चाहती हूँ। पिछले हफ्ते यूपी के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं योगी आदित्यनाथ, उन्होंने कहा था कि एक गलत हुआ है जिसको अब सही करना चाहिए, जो मुस्लिम साइड है उसकी तरफ से एक रेजोल्यूशन आना चाहिए। उसके बाद पॉलिटिकली काफी बवाल हुआ था, काफी पार्टी सामने आई थी, उन्होंने ये कहा था कि एक चीफ मिनिस्टर को ऐसा बयान नहीं देना चाहिए, ये मैटर अभी भी कोर्ट्स में चल रहा है, सब जुडिस है मैटर। आप कैसे देखते हैं उसको?
जी, हमारे आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने जो कहा है, पहले तो हम उनका स्वागत करते हैं, अभिनंदन करते हैं, उनको सच प्रणाम करते हैं। जो उन्हें सच था वो सबके सामने जनता को पहुंचाया कि उसमें एक अंधे व्यक्ति को भी प्रवेश दिया जाए तो वो भी स्पष्ट करके बता सकता है कि वो मंदिर है कि मस्जिद है। तो त्रिशूल मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, स्वास्तिक मस्जिद में क्या कर रहा है, क्या वो हम लोगों ने लगा दिए हैं?
जी,
वो हम लोगों ने लगा दिए हैं। तो वो मंदिर है तो मंदिर ही रहेगा। मस्जिद कोई कहता है टोपा पहना दे, जो गुम्बद है उसमें हमारा साक्षात शिखर नजर आ रहा है। तो बताइए वास्तविक में वो मंदिर है तो हम लोग उसको मंदिर कर रहे हैं, ये लोग मस्जिद लगा के बैठे हुए हैं। तो अब जिद छोड़ दे, पुराना इतिहास मत दोहराए, क्योंकि हम लोग 30,000 मंदिरों का जवाब उनसे ले लेंगे फिर हम।
जी मंजू जी, I'll have to leave that conversation there. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. I'll have to thank Subhash Nandan as well. This is a story that we'll keep tracking very, very closely. But let's shift our focus to some other stories that we're keeping a close eye on. And this is an unfortunate one. The tragic and horrific killing of a 14-year-old girl in Rajasthan has now shaken the state and sparked a widespread outrage. The girl's burnt body was found in a brick kiln in Bhilwara yesterday after the girl went missing. During intensive search, the girl's body was discovered, as I pointed out, in a brick kiln near her home. The cops have not ruled out a rape angle till now. Meanwhile, the political tension has only intensified ahead of the elections. The BJP has criticized the Congress, the ruling party in the state, and questioned the effectiveness of their administration in ensuring public safety. BJP has gone on to say that except the Chief Minister chair, no one is safe in Rajasthan.
जिस तरह से क्राइम की रेट बढ़ रही है राजस्थान में, मुख्यमंत्री कह रहे हैं कि
दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण एक दिन भट्टी में एक बच्चे की लाश मिलती है, कंकाल मिलता है। स्कूल में एक बच्चे की लाश मिलती है, एक बच्चे का गैंगरेप करके उसको गला दबा करके मारने का प्रयास होता है। न मरने पर गोली मार दी जाती है, गोली मारने के बाद में भी न मरने पर तेजाब डाल करके और कुएं में फेंक दिया जाता है। निरंतर इस तरह की घटना होने के बावजूद राजस्थान सरकार के मुखिया चैन की बंसी बजाते हुए कुर्सी पर आराम से टांगे फैला करके बैठकर अपने आप अपने प्रदेश को सबसे सुरक्षित और सर्वश्रेष्ठ प्रदेश है। इस तरह की न राजस्थान में युवा सुरक्षित है, न राजस्थान में युवाओं का भविष्य सुरक्षित है, न राजस्थान में मंदिर सुरक्षित है, न राजस्थान में भगवान की मूर्तियां सुरक्षित है, न राजस्थान में जो है न राजस्थान में कानून व्यवस्था सुरक्षित है। राजस्थान में सुरक्षा के नाम पर केवल और केवल एक चीज सुरक्षित है, और जिसको जादूगरी के साथ में मुख्यमंत्री पिछले 4.5 साल तक द्वंद्व चलते हुए सुरक्षित कर पाए, तो इनकी सुरक्षित जो है वो सुरक्षित।
10 incidents of rapes and women atrocities take place every single day in Rajasthan, but no word is coming out from Rahul Gandhi. And now what is shocking is that in Bhilwara, a 14-year-old girl, a minor, has been cut up into pieces and burnt in a koile ki bhatti. And it is suspected that she has been gang raped. This is the state of women and state of law and order in Rajasthan. It has become number 1 in rapes, but Shanti Dhariwal, the minister, says मर्दों का प्रदेश है, रेप होता रहेगा। अशोक गहलोत से 50% रेप केसेस आर फेक, एंड प्रियंका वाड्रा उसे लड़की हूं, लड़ सकती हूं। राहुल गांधी goes across the country on women's issues, has not uttered a single word. This shows their opportunism and double speak. And this is when their own minister Rajendra Guda wanted to speak on the issue of women in Rajasthan. He was sacked from the ministry. Divya Maderna says, I am not safe, forget the women of Rajasthan. She's the MLA of the Congress party. Not a single word on this.
Let's also now bring in our colleague Bhavani, who in fact is now joining us with more details. Bhavani, और क्या जानकारी है आपके पास? अभी तक जो पुलिस ऑफिशियल्स हैं उनका क्या कहना है? क्या रेप एंगल रूल आउट कर दिया गया है? और दूसरी चीज, लड़की के परिवार का क्या कहना है?
देखिए, अभी पुलिस की ओर से इन्वेस्टिगेशन जारी है। अभी पुलिस की ओर से कहा गया है कि वो अभी कह नहीं सकते हैं, लेकिन जो कुछ एविडेंस मिल रहे हैं उसके आधार से इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहे हैं। और लेकिन बीजेपी को ये आरोप लगा रही है, और फैमिली है, जो फैमिली ये कह रही है कि वो जब घर से गई वहाँ पर उसको किडनैप किया गया, बकरियां चराने के लिए गई थी, उसके बाद में उसके साथ में सामूहिक दुष्कर्म किया और फिर उसके बाद में उसकी हत्या करके उसको भट्टे के डाल के जिंदा जला दिया। तो जो परिवार जो एलिगेशन लगा रहा है उसकी पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रही है, जो कड़ियां हैं वो जोड़ने की कोशिश कर रही है कि किनके साथ गई थी, फिर उसके बाद में जो किडनैपिंग को है एंगल उसको देखा जा रहा है। तो अभी जब तक पुलिस का कहना है कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंप्लीट नहीं हो जा सकती तब तक कहना मुश्किल है, लेकिन इशारा इस ओर हो रहा है कि शायद इसके साथ में दुष्कर्म हुआ।
Bhavani, I'll just request you to stay on with us. We're getting some breaking developments also now coming in. Former Rajasthan Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje has also slammed the current Congress government, the Gehlot government. She's gone on to say, for how long will you keep hiding such incidents under the guise of statistics? So there is more demand as far as the safety of women are concerned, and the Gehlot government facing a lot of criticism as far as the law and order situation is concerned. Bhavani continues to be with us. भवानी, काफी प्रेशर बनता जा रहा है गहलोत सरकार पर. बीजेपी तो अटैक कर ही रही है. 2-3 दिन पहले हमने प्रोटेस्ट भी देखे थे बीजेपी के, जो वो कह रही है कि लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन बिल्कुल हाथ से बाहर जा चुकी है. गहलोत गवर्नमेंट का क्या कहना है? किस तरह की अश्योरेंस दी जा रही है लोगों को, सिटीजन्स को और विक्टिम के परिवार को?
देखिए, अभी फैमिली और जो वहाँ के लोकल गांव के लोग जो नरसिंहपुरा के जहाँ की घटना है, वहाँ वो धरने पे बैठे हुए हैं और वो आरोपियों की गिरफ्तारी की मांग कर रहे हैं और पूरे मामले के अंदर पुलिस पर आरोप लगाने की एक्शन नहीं लिया है. तो अभी पुलिस की ओर से और सरकार की ओर से इन्वेस्टिगेशन पे फोकस किया जा रहा है. अब क्योंकि जाहिर तौर पर इतना बड़ा मसला हो गया और अब बीजेपी अटैक करेगी. और क्योंकि आप देखिए कि आप इस घटना से थोड़ा सा पहले जाएंगे, 10 दिन पहले करौली के अंदर इसी तरीके का इंसिडेंट हुआ था, जब एक लड़की को इसी तरीके से उसके साथ में दुष्कर्म, उसके बाद उसको एक कुएं के अंदर फेंक दिया था, तेजाब डाल दिया था उसके चेहरे पे, जिससे पहचान नहीं हो सके. फिर कुएं से बॉडी निकाली, 3 दिन लगा पुलिस को इन्वेस्टिगेट करने में, तब साफ हो गया और एक्यूज अरेस्ट हुए. तो ऐसे जो मामला आ रहे हैं उसमें 2 चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट होती है कि एक कि पुलिस कितना तत्काल एक्शन लेती है और कितनी कड़ी कार्रवाई करती है. इस पर लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को या आगे जो लोग ऐसे अपराध करने वाले हैं उनको कैसे रोका जाए. और यहाँ पर राजस्थान पुलिस कटघरे में खड़ी है और बीजेपी इसी पर घेरने की कोशिश कर रही है. और एक दिन पहले बीजेपी की ओर से. जी
Bhavani, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We want to take in some reactions as well. We have activist Brinda Adige also now joining us on the broadcast. Good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. Unfortunately, another case that has now come to light. A 14-year-old girl has lost her life because of the tragic and horrific case that has come to light from Rajasthan. Do you think there is a larger pattern that's being played out here? Why do you think these cases are increasing as far as the number and frequency is concerned?
Yes, you are right that there is a larger pattern, a pattern where there is no fear of law, complete impunity, because none of these people who are even caught or arrested have ever been followed through and a logical conclusion being brought. The matter in Rajasthan is horrendous, horrific, atrocious, because the Chief Minister has also not come out and said that case will be registered and action will be taken. We've been hearing about minors' rapes for a long time, every day across India. And this particular case has been doing the rounds for the last 5 days. What have we heard from the minister? Nothing. What have we heard from the Home Minister of Rajasthan? Nothing. And these are very poor people. So they cannot even come out and make a noise. And they probably working in bricklins also means they are bonded laborers.
True.
So the state must take cognizance of all of these vulnerabilities.
Okay, Brinda, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for helping us understand what is the way forward in terms of solutions. I'd like to thank our colleague Bhavani as well. We have to quickly shift our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in. Some news now coming in from Bengaluru, where we are understanding 2 unknown miscreants on a bike allegedly extorted a biker near Benson town in Bengaluru, and that entire sequence of events on your screens as well. The incident has been captured on CCTV camera, shows the 2 miscreants stopping a biker in the middle of a road in broad daylight, threatening him using a weapon and then extorting money and his mobile phone as well. Once again raising questions as far as law and order situation is concerned. As you can see in those visuals, there is no police official or cop anywhere nearby, possibly something that these miscreants already knew. They would have possibly recceed this entire area. But unfortunately for them, this entire episode has been caught on CCTV cameras, where, as I pointed out, look at the CCTV, look at this entire sequence of events. It looks pretty isolated. A biker comes, he's stopped by these 2 miscreants, he's threatened with a weapon, and these miscreants then extort money and his mobile phone as well. Let's also bring in our colleague Akshara, who is joining us on the broadcast. Akshara, as I said, once again raising questions as far as law and order situation is concerned. Looks like an isolated area. I can't see any police authority or cops on the ground. something possibly the miscreants have used to their advantage. But any details emerging in terms of identification of these miscreants?
Well, you see, as of now, the police have taken cognizance after the incident took with the forces video. Yes, this here looks like an isolated area, and this part of the Bansan town in Bengaluru is an isolated area. Yes, and they have taken this to their advantage to ensure that they extort the money from the bikers or any other individual passing by through this particular road. And as you can see, the visuals, these two unknown miscreants, white collar miscreants, honestly show a dagger to this particular individual and extort money and his mobile phone as well. And right now, that's the information that's available. That too, after an incident took to Twitter to post the video. But right now, the police have taken cognizance, and they also promised to investigate this particular case. First, they'll have to check the video, and they've got to know the location and the details as well. And further details are much awaited regarding who these two unknown miscreants are. But still, on the other hand, the police officials are also, taking strict action against all the such incidents that have come to the fore here in Bengaluru city.
Akshara, we'll have to leave that conversation there. This is a developing story. Keep a close eye on all those developments for us. Time for us to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
आसमान ही नहीं, मैं अंतरिक्ष भी छू सकती हूँ। सरकार हो या कारोबार, हर बागडोर संभाल सकती हूँ। उठाए अगर कोई दुश्मन आंख, तो करारा जवाब दे सकती हूँ। कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर सबके साथ बढ़ सकती हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ। सोच की दीवार हो या बंद हर किवाड़ हो, अपने हौसले से पार कर सकती हूँ। देश के निर्माण से लेकर दुनिया को आगे ले जाने में अपनी भागीदारी निभा सकती हूँ। मैं शी शक्ति हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ।
हमने 8 जोन्स में उनको बांटा है और हर जोन में एक आईपीएस को हमने ड्यूटी लगाई है। पूरी तरह से जो साक्ष्य मिल रहे हैं सीसीटीवी से या अन्य संसाधनों से, जो मिल रहे हैं, जो जिनकी इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उनको हम पकड़ रहे हैं। 41 एफआईआर कल रात तक दर्ज हो चुकी थी और 116 लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया जा चुका था। 90 के करीब हमने डिटेन कर रखे हैं। हम जांच कर रहे हैं कि उनकी संलिप्तता इसमें है या नहीं है। अगर संलिप्तता होगी तो उनको भी गिरफ्तार करेंगे। माय प्राइमरी जॉब इज टू मेंटेन पीस। पहला काम मेरा ये है कि वहां पर पीस बहाल की जाए, नहीं लोगों में विश्वास पैदा किया जाए कि पुलिस पूरी तरह से आपके साथ है। आप निर्भीक होकर, निर्भय होकर आप अपनी दिनचर्या करें, आप अपने
नहीं विद साहब, लेकिन ये बताइए, पहली चीज ये नू की जो स्थिति थी, इस तरह इतना मतलब बुरी तरह इसको कैसे बिगड़ने दिया आपके पुलिस और प्रशासन ने? दूसरी चीज, हमारे पास ये भी जानकारी है कि, और एफआईआर में भी ये लिखा है कि 500 से 600 लोग एंटी सोशल एलिमेंट्स वहां इकट्ठे। और जो ये घटना हुई है उस पे जो एक्शन लेना चाहिए था वो राजस्थान पुलिस ने नहीं लिया। ये तो मैं आपको सिर्फ एक घटना बता रही हूँ। वही भीलवाड़ा में 2 दिन पहले एक बच्ची के साथ स्कूल में कुछ लड़कों ने उसकी वाटर बॉटल में पेशाब भर दिया। इतनी घिनौनी घटना, इतनी ऐसी घटना जिसके बारे में कोई सोच भी नहीं सकता। ऐसी घटनाएं राजस्थान में बार बार हो रही। कुछ दिन पहले हिंडौन में, करौली में भी एक घटना हुई थी, जो एक बच्ची की लाश कुएं में मिली। उसके बाद जब परिजन रिपोर्ट लिखाने गए तब पुलिस वालों ने कहा कि यहां क्यों आए हो, यहां से जाओ क्योंकि तुम्हें ही बंद कर दिया जाएगा। राजस्थान में जो मुख्यमंत्री हैं वो वहां के होम मिनिस्टर भी हैं। मैं उनसे पूछना चाहूंगी कि इतनी सारी घटनाएं हो रही है, लगातार कम से कम 20 घटनाएं हो रही हैं राजस्थान में। महिलाओं पे इतना दुष्कर्म बढ़ा है, इतना रेप की घटनाएं। आज राजस्थान पूरे देश का रेप कैपिटल बन गया है। ये एनसीआरबी की आंकड़े कह रहे हैं, हम लोग नहीं कह रहे। क्या इन्होंने आपका क्या बिगाड़ा, इन महिलाओं ने, ये नाबालिग बच्चियों ने, जो लगातार इस तरह की घटनाएं राजस्थान में हो रही हैं। 28 की बात करें, 28 जुलाई की, तो एक दिन में कम से कम 21 घटनाएं रिपोर्टेड घटनाएं थी। इसका जवाब कौन देगा? इनको इंसाफ कौन दिलाएगा? इनकी पार्टी की मुखिया प्रियंका गांधी राजस्थान आती हैं सैर करने, घूमने, रणथंभौर, लेकिन क्या वो किसी भी परिवारजन को मिलने गई हैं? क्या किसी भी पीड़िता के परिवार को उन्होंने दिलासा दिलाया है? क्या नहीं दिलाया। लड़की हूं, लड़ सकती हूं, तो क्या राजस्थान की लड़की लड़की नहीं है, इंसान नहीं है? उनको कौन इंसाफ दिलाएगा? ये इतनी शर्मनाक है। बाड़मेर में एक महिला के साथ रेप हुआ, उस पर एसिड डलाया, उसको मार दिया गया। बीकानेर में खाजूवाला में रेप हुआ, उसमें पुलिस भी इन्वॉल्व थी। ऐसी घटनाएं मैं आपको कितनी बताऊंगी। अजमेर, जयपुर, अलवर, पाली, डूंगरपुर, हर जिले से कोई ना कोई घटना रोजाना सामने आ रही है और रुकने का नाम नहीं ले रहा। लगातार ये घटनाएं बढ़ती जा रही है। तो हम लोग आप लोगों के बीच आए हैं। हमारे पास और कोई समझ में नहीं आ रहा राजस्थान की महिला को कि वो कहां जाए। वहां के मुख्यमंत्री को अब सत्ता में रहने का अधिकार नहीं है। उनके मंत्री कहते हैं विधानसभा में कि ये तो राजस्थान है, ये मर्दों का प्रदेश है, इस तरह की घटना होना तो जायज है, और उस मंत्री को वो शाबाशी देते हैं। सब लोग हंसते हैं उनकी बात पे विधानसभा में। और दूसरी ओर एक और मंत्री जिनको उन्होंने निकाल दिया, वो कहते हैं कि मणिपुर की बात तो चलो ठीक है, लेकिन हमको हमारे गिरबान में झांकना चाहिए। उनको वो बर्खास्त कर देते हैं। राजस्थान में वो कर क्या रहे हैं? सिर्फ अपनी कुर्सी बचा रहे हैं और कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं। आज बहुत ही इतनी ज्यादा शर्मसार घटनाएं हो रही हैं, दिल दहलाने वाली घटनाएं हो रही हैं। शर्म आता है, मुझे शर्म आती है कि मैं एक ऐसे प्रदेश से हूं जो मीराबाई का प्रदेश है, पद्मिनी का प्रदेश है, पन्नाधाई का प्रदेश है, भक्ति, शक्ति, त्याग का प्रदेश है, लेकिन आज उसकी ये हालत हो गई। इसकी जिम्मेदारी कौन लेगा?
आदरणीय रंजिता जी से आग्रह है कि आप सबको संबोधित करें।
नमस्कार, मैं ऐसे प्रदेश से आती हूँ, राजस्थान प्रदेश से, जहाँ कभी कहा जाता था पधारो हमारे देश। आज राजस्थान को जिस तरीके से एक रेपिस्ट राजस्थान बनाकर रख दिया है, तो जिस तरीके से मैं कह सकती हूँ, जिस प्रदेश में हम रहते हैं वहाँ पर आज जो पद्मिनी और पन्नाधाई का जो बेटियों के सम्मान के लिए राजस्थान को माना जाता था, आज बहुत मन व्यतीत है। और हम लोग आपके सामने इसलिए आए हैं कि राजस्थान में जिस तरीके से आप देखिए कि जो घटनाएं हो रही हैं वो दिल दहलाने वाली घटना है। आज हम कह सकते हैं करौली की घटना, जो एक बेटी के ऊपर एसिड डालकर और जला दिया जाता है, कुएं में फेंक दिया जाता है। दूसरी ओर आप देखिए जोधपुर की घटना, बहुत दिल दहलाने वाली घटना है। ये राजस्थान में पहली घटना नहीं है, राजस्थान में ऐसी घटनाएं आए दिन हो रही हैं, जो कि हम कह सकते थे कभी राजस्थान में बेटियों के सम्मान के लिए युद्ध हो जाया करते थे। लेकिन माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी जिस तरीके से जनता के प्रति उन आरोपियों को पकड़ लिया जाता है और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी अपनी पीठ थपथपाते हैं और कहते हैं कि हमने पकड़ा है। लेकिन मैं कहती हूँ कि ऐसे केसेस होने की ये क्या इंतजार करते हैं? क्या इनको ऐसा लगता है?
And we have to shift our focus to some other breaking developments now coming in amid disruptions in Parliament. Sources in the opposition now telling us here at CNN News 18, TMC is saying they're ready for discussion has ruffled some within the Congress. Congress says TMC should have kept the Congress in the loop, so it looks like a divided house. Sources also revealing that some in the opposition want discussion without diluting terms. The opposition's concern is that no discussion is happening and bills are getting passed. Opposition also feels people's issue like price rise and others are not being raised. Let's also now bring in our colleague and senior editor Pallavi Ghosh, who in fact is joining us on the broadcast. So Pallavi, as per what sources are indicating to us here at CNN News 18, it looks like that all that talk about differences between the Congress and the TMC being kept aside weren't really true.
Yes, absolutely, because there is a difference of opinion. And I'll just give you a sequence of events, but I think the big news which comes out here now is that one of the middle parts of formula which seems to be discussed is that of Rule 167. What does Rule 167 is? That you have a discussion on a matter of national importance, and after that, you end up coming out with a resolution which essentially captures the sense of the House. So what is being mulled is that you come out with a resolution in which the entire House expresses its concern over the situation in Manipur. Now, one would call it as a climb down, one would see as a compromise or understanding the importance of Manipur, but to speak in the opposition spectrum, the feeling within some political parties was that one, the bills are being cleared without any debate and discussion, and that is, you're giving it on a platform to the government. Second, the important bills, for example, the Delhi bill, for example, the data protection bill, all of this also requires more debate, discussion and involvement of the opposition parties. Why do you want to give that platform the edge to the government? And third is that at the end of the day, it's people's issue which also matter. For example, Ridhima, we are talking about rising tomato prices. There is a jury out on that, and many of the political parties feel we have to face elections, and at the end of the day, if we do not raise these people's issue, how do we explain to our constituencies that the people's issue also matters? Therefore, that's one of the reasons why there seems to be a kind of a dilution in the stand of opposition parties also. They don't want to agree to Rule 176. They don't want to stick on to Rule 267, which is why one of the formula which could be adopted is that of Rule 167.
Pallavi, you're right, because this is exactly the criticism that had been coming from the BJP as well, that why aren't you having a discussion at all? And this is the criticism that was coming against the opposition, that rather than not having any discussion, why not use the opportunity that you have, at least raise the issue, specifically as you rightly pointed out, the passing of bills are concerned, because the last 10 days we've seen bills have been passed without any debate and discussion.
And absolutely, Ridhima, we saw that little change of stance as far as Lok Sabha goes, where on the Delhi bill introduction, opposition parties, members like Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and Shogato Roy, all of them did speak, raising an objection to the tabling of that bill also. That is because the Aam Aadmi Party gave an input at an opposition meeting is that this bill really matters to us. It's involved about our politics. We really do want to capture in the archives of the parliament that, that we have resisted this bill. And therefore, we cannot do so unless we don't take a momentary break. Every day, adjournment doesn't really help our cause, which is why the rest of the opposition parties agreed to it. And that's the reason why that break was given in Lok Sabha. Similar argument now seems to be emerging in Rajya Sabha, but the writer over here is that they do not want to see this as a climb down. They want to have a discussion under 167 if that is agreed upon with consensus, which means we have not agreed to a small or short duration discussion. Let us discuss for 6 to 7 hours. Quickly also, the government sources are making it very clear that they are not going to insist on a time-bound discussion. You can take as much of time as you want. We are ready to answer all your questions.
Okay, Pallavi, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. So we'll have to see, will there be some sort of consensus going forward for the remaining session as far as the monsoon session of Parliament is concerned. Time for us to slip into a very short break. We're coming back with lots more.
उनके पास पत्थर थे, उनके पास लाठी थे, पिस्तौल, स्वॉर्ड्स, सब चीज थे उनके पास। ये इतनी भारी संख्या में इतने लोगों को आपने वहां कैसे इकट्ठा होने अलाउ किया? क्या हम ये ना माने कि ये पुलिस की तरफ से इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर थी और पुलिस की तरफ से लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के भी फेलियर थी कि इतने भारी संख्या में लोग वहां इकट्ठा हो गए?
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा है, बिना तथ्यों की जानकारी के मैं नहीं कह सकता। मैं इसकी जांच कराऊंगा कि क्या किसी के पास इनपुट था, अगर था तो उसने किसको बताया, किस लेवल के अधिकारी को बताया, किस लेवल की घटना होने वाली थी, क्या वहां तक बताया या नहीं बताया, तो हम करेंगे ना जी, उसके बाद करेंगे ना जी, इस बात को करेंगे जांच। में बख्शता तो किसी को हूं नहीं, आप सब जानते हो, मैं किसी को नहीं बख्शूंगा अगर किसी ने कोताही बरती है, लेकिन अभी किसी नतीजे पर पहुंचना ठीक नहीं है। हाँ, एक बात जरूर लगती है कि किसी ने मास्टरमाइंड किया है, क्योंकि साइमल्टेनियसली कई स्पॉट के ऊपर हिंसा होना ऐसा कभी दंगों में हुआ नहीं करता जब तक कि उसकी प्लानिंग ना की गई हो। ऐसे नहीं हो सकता कि मैंने गुड़गांव से पुलिस भेजी और बॉर्डर पर ही वो उन्होंने गोलियां चला दी। इसका मतलब किसी को पता था कि ये जलेगा और बाहर से फोर्स नहीं आने देंगे। ये सारी बातों की हम जानकारी करेंगे। अगर किसी ने मास्टरमाइंड भी किया है उसकी भी तथ्यों सहित, लोग बहुत कुछ कह रहे हैं, कई लोगों का नाम ले रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं किसी की नहीं मानता। मैं तो वो बात को मानूंगा जो तथ्यों सहित मेरे सामने आएगी।
नहीं, इसके तो ये बताइए विद साहब, ये जो हिंसा हमने देखी नू में, उसके बाद उसके प्रतिक्रिया में या उसके रिएक्शन में जो गुड़गांव में फैला गया, जो बादशाहपुर में हमने देखा, पलवल, काफी सारे जगहों में हरियाणा में ये हिंसा फैल गई। गुड़गांव तो आपको पता ही है कि आईटी का सेंटर है, एक तरीके से देखेंगे तो पूरे नॉर्थ इंडिया का सबसे बड़ा आईटी सिटी माना जाता है। तो इस तरीके के जो वायलेंस हो रहा है, इस तरीके की जो हिंसा हो रही है, वहां पे कंपनियों को बोला जा रहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम कीजिए, स्कूल कॉलेज सब बंद है। क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि गुड़गांव की जो छवि है उस पर ठोस पहुंचा सकती है इसके वजह से?
नहीं, बिल्कुल खराब नहीं होने देंगे। कल जैसे ही वहां पर ये हुआ, मैंने उसी वक्त सीपी गुड़गांव से बात करी और सिर्फ फोर्स भेज के उनको ठीक भी कर दिया और लोगों को बुलाकर उनसे बात भी कर ली। हम पूरी तरह से, हमारी पुलिस लगी हुई है, चप्पे चप्पे पर हरियाणा पुलिस खड़ी है और किसी को भी अब हम किसी प्रकार से, मैं लोगों से अपील भी करना चाहता हूं कि देखिए पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है। आप प्रदेश की शांति व्यवस्था बनाए रखने के लिए आप हमारा सहयोग करिए। किसी प्रकार की उत्तेजनात्मक पोस्ट किसी सोशल मीडिया पे मत डालिए, अगर आती भी है तो फॉरवर्ड मत करिए।
साहब बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। सो दैट वाज द होम मिनिस्टर ऑफ हरियाणा इन द हॉट सीट, taking on the allegations and the criticism really that the police did a shoddy job of first controlling what happened in New and then subsequently allowing the violence to flare up in other parts of Haryana. But the opposition is having none of this. Joining me now is the former Chief Minister of the state and the current Leader of the Opposition in the Haryana Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Hooda. Bhupinder Singh Hooda, thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us. The government has said, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear what the Home Minister said just moments ago, he says that this is a well-planned conspiracy and that the perpetrator...
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Some breaking developments now coming in. And there's a big update coming in as far as the Gyanvapi case is concerned. There is now a statement coming in from the District Magistrate of Varanasi, who in fact has confirmed that the ASI survey as far as the Gyanvapi complex is concerned, those proceedings in fact will begin from tomorrow. Remember, this is exactly what the Hindu side had been saying, especially after the verdict today, that these proceedings need to begin as soon as possible. And the word coming in is, in fact, that survey will begin from tomorrow. Amit is now joining us with more details. Amit, as I pointed out, post the verdict that came in earlier in the day, the Hindu side was saying, now our only demand is that the survey needs to begin as soon as possible because it's needed in the interest as far as justice is concerned. Any more details that you're picking up as far as the survey proceedings itself are concerned?
देखिए, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले जो वाराणसी के डीएम हैं, डीएम और प्लस वाराणसी पुलिस कमिश्नर और मंडल आयुक्त कमिश्नर, इन लोगों ने एक मीटिंग की थी जिसमें एएसआई के अधिकारी भी मौजूद थे और उसमें यह फैसला लिया गया है कि कल सुबह से जिस तरीके से इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट का फैसला आया है, उसके बाद कल से एएसआई का सर्वे होगा और इस बाबत वहां पर पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस के जवान, उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस के जवान और कमांडो फोर्सेस को तैनात किया जाएगा, बिकॉज क्योंकि ये बहुत ही सेंसिटिव इशू है और उस दौरान हिंदू पक्ष और मुस्लिम पक्ष से भी अपील कर रहा है प्रशासन की किसी भी तरीके से वो इस संवेदनशील इशू में आकर एएसआई सर्वे जो कोर्ट का आदेश है उसमें मदद करे।
जी अमित, जैसे आप बता रहे हैं, आप मुझे एक क्लैरिटी बताइए कि किस तरह का बंदोबस्त करा जा रहा है। जैसे आपने कहा कि काफी सेंसिटिव मामला है, मुस्लिम साइड कह रही है कि वो टॉप कोर्ट में अपील भी करेगी, तो डिप्लॉयमेंट को लेकर किस तरह की तैयारी है?
देखिए, चूंकि ये सावन का महीना है और लिहाजा काफी ज्यादा श्रद्धालु देश के कोने कोने से आ रहे हैं। ऐसे में काफी सेंसिटिव मैटर है, तो पीएससी के जवान, पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस के जवान, कमांडो फोर्सेस, इन सब की तैनाती है ज्ञानवापी परिसर के आसपास। यही नहीं, अगर हम काशी विश्वनाथ कॉरिडोर और उस इलाके की पूरी बात करें तो उस इलाके में लगातार लोकल पुलिस पेट्रोलिंग करती रहेगी। लोकल पुलिस के आला अधिकारी जो एसीपी, एडिशनल डीसीपी और डीसीपी रैंक के अधिकारी होंगे वो लगातार पेट्रोलिंग करेंगे। उस पूरे एरिया को बैरिकेटिंग कर दी गई है, मतलब कोई भी बाहरी व्हीकल बाहर से अंदर नहीं जाएगा। अगर जो जा रहे हैं उनको परमिशन लेना होगा कि किस पर्पज से वो जा रहे हैं, और पूरी सुरक्षा की चाक चौबंद व्यवस्थाएं होंगी। जिस तरीके से हमने पिछले सप्ताह देखा था कि जब ASI सर्वे 5.5 घंटा चला था, तो पूरी तरीके से जो आला अधिकारी और फोर्सेस वहां पर, पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस, कमांडो फोर्सेस तैनात, उसी तरीके से कल भी तैनात होंगे। जी,
okay, Amit, thanks a lot for those details. So the big update coming in is that ASI survey in fact will begin from tomorrow. Let's shift our focus then. Here's a positive story from CNN News 18. Mukta Ben Dagli from Gujarat's Amreli district lost her vision to meningitis at the age of 7 and she had to drop out of school. But due to her determination to get educated, she convinced her parents to send her to a school for the blind. This is her story.
Rising India brings you a story of Mukta Ben Dagli, who through her unrelenting efforts and spirit has shown us it is never too late to rise and fight for our less privileged. At the age of 7, Mukta Ben Dagli lost her vision to meningitis and had to drop out of school. But she was determined that education is the only way to a better life. A resident of Ankadia Nana, a small village near Gujarat's Amreli district, Dagli convinced her parents to send her to a school which was for the blind. It was a tragic news that changed her life. At 14, Dagli found out that one of her friends died after she was allegedly fed poison by her parents for being blind. And after this incident, Dagli decided to serve the differently abled. Dagli was fortunate enough to find a life partner who was in sync with her goals. In 1995, Dagli started the Pragna Chakshu Mahila Seva Kunj with her husband, a non-profit organization which provides education, food and accommodation to blind girls.
आज इस संस्था में 200 लड़कियां हैं, 20 बुजुर्ग माता हैं, 35 ऐसी लड़कियां हैं कि जो अपने आप कुछ कर नहीं पाती हैं, जो मल्टी हैंडीकैप हैं, उनको लाना, कपड़े पहनाना आदि सब उनका जो नित्य क्रम है वो हम खुद कर रहे हैं।
Till now, the 61-year-old has shaped the future of over 200 blind girls, and in addition to that, she has also undertaken the responsibility of taking care of people with various disabilities and the elderly who have been abandoned by their families. Her inspirational story won her accolades from Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his Mann Ki Baat podcast. Mukta Ben Dagli is a recipient of over 50 awards, including the Padma Shri. She is an inspiration to many, and her courage is a reflection of rising India's She Shakti. We at the News 18 network salute Dagli for breaking the barriers and believing in "Main kar sakti hu."
आसमान ही नहीं, मैं अंतरिक्ष भी छू सकती हूँ। सरकार हो या कारोबार, हर बागडोर संभाल सकती हूँ। उठाए अगर कोई दुश्मन आंख, तो करारा जवाब दे सकती हूँ। कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर सबके साथ बढ़ सकती हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ। सोच की दीवार हो या बंद हर किवाड़ हो, अपने हौसले से पार कर सकती हूँ। देश के निर्माण से लेकर दुनिया को आगे ले जाने में अपनी भागीदारी निभा सकती हूँ। मैं शी शक्ति हूँ। मैं कर सकती हूँ।
Good afternoon. You're watching the breaking news show right here on CNN News 18. My name is Toya Singh. Over the next 1 hour, we're going to walk you through all of the country's top stories at this hour. It is a Thursday afternoon. Let's start with a look at the situation in Haryana. It's been 4 days since the new incident, and unrest still continues in various parts of the state of Haryana. Now, as the opposition raised questions on what they call the laxity of the state administration, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar has warned of strict action against the perpetrators. He said that the government won't, I'm going to quote him here, spare the guilty. He's also assured compensation to the victims. Now, a 3-member SIT has also been formed to oversee the investigation into the incidents that have played out over the last few days. Remember, on Monday, a VHP procession was passing through New. That's when stone pelting started. A conflict arose. Since then, there have been multiple other violent incidents across the state of Haryana. Now, 139 people have been arrested so far. Section 144 continues in parts of Haryana, and a ban on internet services will be reviewed today. Now, we're also learning that everything started, and we've brought you these details in the form of our reporters' ground reports, that the initial spark was videos exchanged on social media. We're going to bring you more context. My colleagues are going to bring you ground reports. CNN News 18 has accessed the FIR registered in this case. That FIR stated that it was a well-planned conspiracy. It not only states that, it says that 600 to 700 vandals pelted stones at the police. We're going to take a deeper dive into what the opposition said too in just a second. First, take a look at these ground reports.
It has been 3 days since violence broke out in Nuh. And since then, tensions have been simmering across districts in Haryana, especially in Gurugram. At this point in time, I am reporting from Bashapur area of Gurugram, where there were a few reports had come up that a few shops were set on fire. Fearing the hate, fearing the anger, many people have vacated their houses, as you can see in these visuals right here, that people who were living in these houses, these people were basically from the Muslim communities, and we saw that the manner in which Muslims were targeted out here, especially in Gurugram, and hence all these people have locked their houses and have gone away from here. What the other locals who have been residing in this area have told us is that there were no tensions that developed over here on the ground, but yes, these people had shops in the main market, and hence they feared that the situation could go out of hand and they could also be targeted, and hence all these people have vacated their houses and in fact have put these locks right in front of their houses. It has been 3 days. The police has constantly been saying that the situation is back to normal, but yes, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of fear that can still be sensed in the atmosphere out here in Bashapur. The police is saying that yes, they are taking preventive measures. Advocate booths are deployed on the ground just to make sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Over the last 12 to 14 hours, there has been no new instances that have been reported of any sort of violence.
My colleague Anvit is with us live from New, which is where the initial incident on Monday that sparked these other incidents across Haryana. He's joining us from the ground there. New, you told us yesterday, and our colleague Anshul is telling us today, that no additional incidents have been reported across the state of Haryana. Can you bring us a temperature check of the ground right now in New?
Yeah, see, the conditions so far are normal as far as the violence is concerned. On Monday evening, this all had started around during the afternoon, and by night, police had been claiming that they had almost contained violence in all the pockets of Haryana from where the violence were reported, mainly the areas of Manesar, Mewat, Nuh, Sohna, and even as the violence reached the NCR areas of Gurugram. But see, despite these tall claims that we have enough deployment on ground and senior officers are doing intensified patrolling, and that rumor mongering is being contained, and that social media teams have been created, dedicated cells to monitor social media. Despite that, some incidents of violence were reported, and arson particularly were reported from Gurugram sector 66 on Tuesday evening, and then again early morning the same day from sector 57. As far as Nuh is concerned, no such violence has been reported, even though 2 incidents of fire took place in 2 separate mosques in Tauru region. Tauru is one of the regions that have been highly affected and one of the epicenters of violence, where a cyber police station was also attacked. But the police have been maintaining that these incidents were only because of short circuit and due to some other reasons. They have said that this had nothing to do with any violence, or these are not, there's no angle of sabotage in these cases. But police have maintained that curfew will be in place, and even though they have eased out the timings of the curfew. Yesterday it was eased out between 3 to 5 p.m. Today a relaxation was given from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the people to gather essentials and to arrange for milk, vegetables and daily need products. But despite these relaxations, shops remain closed, people were not on the streets, shutters were down, markets remain shut. So this clearly testifies the fear on ground, and the people that they are still living in fear, and the kind of tension that prevails in this area. Despite the police claiming their investigations are underway, they have done extensive deployment on streets. If coming to investigation, Toya, police have said that they have the number of FIRs have increased, the number of arrests have also gone up. We are right now reporting from Sadar police station, where some of the suspects who have been arrested, just in past 1 or 2 days, they are still inside. They will be produced shortly before a court, and their custody will be asked from the court. And once their custody is granted, police are saying that we will further interrogate them to know, at least to investigate on 3 important aspects what the police are saying, because this conspiracy angle that you also mentioned has been talked about since the very beginning. So police wants to know, if there were some main conspirators and main orchestrators who had actually been directing this mob, and on whose behest were these mobs being mobilized at the time of violence. The second important thing is that name of Monu Manesar has also surfaced, who has a criminal background, and there are some other people, other names have also surfaced in this entire matter. So police wants to know that any of these people who were heading the mob, the violent mob, were they in touch with these people who had criminal backgrounds? Was there any malified intention of group or of people who were directing these groups to move in an organized manner? The third thing what they want to know is that the role of outsiders is also being probed, and for that the dump data is being collected from epicenters of violence that unfolded Monday afternoon onwards, and police will try to identify whether or not those people, even those who are arrested and who are inside, and those who have already been arrested and given to the custody, CCTV footages are being checked, and they are being identified with the help of locals and local police from Nu and other close by regions. Police wants to identify them and to gather technical evidence that they were present on ground. CCTV footages will certainly help, but the dump data that will be collected, also verifying it from the telecom companies, will further give scientific data to the police to make sure that yes, they were present in that area at that time of incident when the violence was unfolding. So this will help police build a watertight case against those who have been arrested, and it will also further help in charge sheeting the case.
Anvit, I want to understand from you, the Deputy Chief Minister of Haryana's statement made it clear that he believed that there had also been a lapse on the part of the police. He said that more could have been done to manage the situation. That's also broadly a view that a number of experts are also holding, that the police could have done more. Anvit, are we seeing any kind of disciplinary action taking place behind the scenes?
See, there's no deniability that certainly it's a failure, it's an intelligence failure.